Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show here on STV. For the next 4 hours, we'll take you through all the action, the goals as they come in across all 4 divisions in Scotland, and we'll also keep you up to date with what's happening in the Premier League in England. I'm in the company of Alan Ruff and Frank McAvenny. They will talk us through the next 4 hours, give us their opinion, and of course, we've got more than a few interviews to get across to you throughout the afternoon. You can interact with us at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. We'll also bring you the latest news from the Grand National around about 5:15. We'll keep you up to date on your horse and whether you're going to be just a little bit better off with the money you've put on your favourite horse in one of the biggest, the biggest race in the world. I'm almost certain the focus of attention will be on Aintree as well. But across all 4 divisions, some titles have been decided and some have still to be decided. We'll be going to talk to Des McKeown at St Mirren at the bottom end of the Championship, and Morton against Hibs at the top end. Kevin Harper is our reporter out there in the Championship as well. But of course the main news, Ruffy, is that 4-year deal. This is what Celtic Chief Executive Peter Lawwell had to say about Brendan Rodgers extending his stay at Celtic.
Football Club is delighted to announce that we've agreed a new contract with Brendan. The term of the contract will be 4 years and it will run to June 2021.
So there is a happy chief executive, and this is what the Celtic manager had to say about putting pen to paper on the deal.
Waiting period for the club, and working with the players, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, what I've always tried to do going into clubs along with my staff is to improve individual players, make them better and make the teams better, and then ultimately get a feeling around the club that is exciting and on and off the park, and that's obviously our aim to do that here. So for me, I couldn't be happier. I'm in the best place I possibly could be. I'll be eternally thankful for the board for showing that trust in me, and now going forward over the course of the next 4 years, that commitment from us all to look to grow, develop, and it's my responsibility to lead the football development and ensure that we can continue to progress.
Frank McAvenny, what do you make of that deal?
I think it's great. I think they've they didn't do it quick enough for me bringing somebody like Brendan in. I think Celtic should have done it a while ago. You know, before. I think they should have went straight for somebody like Brendan before Ronnie. But it's done. I think Peter Lawwell has got to be, commended for what he's done, because he's back doing his day job. He's back doing his chief executive. He's running a football club rather than interfering with the players, which he was doing with Ronnie. Brendan's come in, he's like a breath of fresh air, Peter. It took a month, 6 weeks to turn everything round. There was a couple of dodgy results when he came in, but he's been brilliant. I think, you get what you pay for, and Celtic went out on a limb, took a chance on Brendan, and he's came in, he's lifted the club. There's not an empty seat there now, and it's great, and the football's exciting. That's the most important thing for me.
Ruffy, they've had a price freeze on the season tickets for a few years. They've decided to put them up in some cases by £50. I think Celtic fans will be more than willing to pay it because, as Macca said, he has transformed the way they play as well.
Yeah, they've had a great year. The supporters have had a great year. I think he's probably the best year of his career. And that's why he signed on for another 4. I don't think he's good enough yet to get back into a top 6 team in England, so why not stay at a great club for another 4 years, build up your CV, and then build on the European games and then see what happens after that. But he has done absolutely nothing wrong since he went in there.
Yep, and they'll be heading to the sunshine of Celtic Park today. Happy the title's in the bag and they remain undefeated. Can they do that all the way through to the end? Kilmarnock will have something to say about it today. That Celtic side: Gordon, Lustig, Shimonovic, Boyata, Forrest, Brown, Armstrong, Tierney, McGregor, Sinclair and Roberts. Brendan Rodgers has mentioned that he was going to start to play the team that he's going to pick against Rangers. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff and Frank McAvenny are with me, Peter Martin, throughout the afternoon, keeping you right up to date with what's happening across all 4 divisions in Scotland. And, of course, we'll keep our eye on the Premier League in England as well, where Tottenham are running rampant at White Hart Lane, Macca.
Yeah, well, all they can do, all they can do is keep winning. They keep winning. They're beating Watford 4-0. And Watford's been playing well, Peter. So it's a great result. And they've not got their striker. They've not got Kane. I think he's on now, but they've not had him. They've not needed him. He's coming back from an injury, and they put him on with 10 minutes to go or something. So that shows you the strength and depth that Tottenham have got. I'm so pleased with the way they're playing football. I don't want, coming from West Ham, I don't really want them to win, but they're playing some great football, and I'm a big admirer of football.
Yeah, and there you are, spoken like a true pundit of impartiality, playing for West Ham. I don't really want Tottenham to win, so let's find out if other pundits are in that mode as well throughout the afternoon. I'll just quickly give you the Kilmarnock side. I'll give you the Celtic side just before the break. It's Woodman in goal, and then Hendry, Wilson, Dicker, Scott Boyd and Taylor across the back line. The middle 4 is Jones, Longstaff, Smith and Roberts, and up front is Connor Salmons. So that's your starting lineup for Kilmarnock against Celtic. So still the early news is no Moussa Dembele in goal for no Moussa Dembele can probably play in goal. No Moussa Dembele on the starting 11. He's on the bench, and I think he'll make an appearance at some stage over the course of the afternoon against Kilmarnock. Okay, we're going to quickly switch our attention to the Championship. There's 2 really important games at either end of the table that I think are well worthy of our consideration. The first of them at Morton against Hibernian. At Capello for us is Kevin Harper. And Kevin, I think we're wondering whether we're going to get a battle on the pitch as well as off it.
I think so. I hope not, Peter. The Hibs team bus has just pulled up behind me. We're talking about the sideshow instead of looking at the main event, which Hibs Morton. If Hibs win today, then for me they've won the Championship.
And of course, it's a Morton side. They've got a good record at home. Jim Duffy was happy with getting a point at Easter Road. I think maybe the battle has taken the shine off his team's performance that night.
I think definitely, Peter. We're fed up of talking about things that happen off the pitch. We should be talking about the things that are happening on the pitch. And Morton this season, especially at Hibs, they were superb. To hold a team of Hibs calibre at home, especially after midweek. They've done fantastic, but for me, I think today's just a step too far for them. Yeah,
I was just going to ask you, you think maybe that Jim's team is looking a little bit tired?
Yeah, I saw them last week, Peter, and I felt that he rested 3 players last week, and I felt they did, especially the front 3 looked really, really jaded. For me, that's the important thing, to be fresh every week, but they're playing almost every Saturday midweek just now, and I think they've got a small squad as well, so that will take its toll.
And as far as Hibs are concerned, I think it would need, a fair few results to go their way today, and a win at Capello to secure the title. It may well be won on another day.
Yeah, Peter, I think it'll probably be won next week, when they will be out of sight, especially if they win today. I think it's most important that they win today because it puts a marker down. The fans will be up for it next week, should obviously the results not go their way today. But for me, Peter, they've been the best team in the league throughout the season. And to get to this point, 5 games left of the season, needing probably a win to get them to where they should belong in the Premiership is a fantastic, season for them and for Neil Lennon.
Yep, can't disagree with you there, Kevin. We'll be back to Kevin at Capello. I don't think he's going to be getting that little bit of aggro trackside between Jim Duffy and Neil Lennon, because I'm told they had a cuddle just at the front door of Capello, Ruffy, which has taken the sting out of it maybe. I think maybe a call has taken place.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously we know that things can happen during a game, and I said I just really hope nothing like that happens, in front of the dugout, something silly that if people react again. But I believe that the fourth official today has been issued with a taser.
Brilliant.
Just to calm the situation down.
We all hope nothing. We all hope it's trouble free. But I mean, this is a big game for both sides, and you know, I can see it flaring up again. I really can, because it's going to be really tense, and I think the game came so quick. It's okay, a wee handshake and a cuddle, all right. But if something happens during the game in front of that dugout and neither of the two of them like it, then they will react, because they're under so much pressure.
I don't think it's pressure. I think the two of them are so energetic about the game. They're enthusiastic about the game. The two of them have got football running through their veins, and I think that's why. I mean, you look at, especially Neil, you still see him, he's kicking every ball.
Can I ask you this, Macca? After the madness of the 2-2 Old Firm game, the next game that you came together against Rangers, were you calm? Was it almost a sense of restraint? Because I can remember, you know, government involvement, police involvement. I thought the next one was more subdued.
Well, no, that was the first time we shook hands and all that. Was the first time that started.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was the government said we had to shake hands. But do you know what? For me, on a personal, I never focused so much on any one game other than that. You know, I just thought I'd let everyone down the first game.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make amends, and you know, and I did. You know, we won 2-0 and I scored the two of them. So. But I really did focus on that game. I mean, I focused on all the games, but you know what I mean? It was just, I thought I'd let people down and my family, and, you know, even though I didn't do anything, as the courts proved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, who are we to argue with the courts?
Of course, yes.
I know Ruffy certainly felt that you'd let everyone down. But I don't want to dwell on that. I want to switch my attention to St Mirren. And by the way, just for the benefit of anyone who believes everything that comes out of Ruffy's mouth, there are no tasers with the fourth official. He's just using his common sense. Des, here's a man who's got a calm head when it all kicks off. Des McKeown is out there for St Mirren against Dumbarton. Yet again, Des, you find yourself in Paisley, because this is really a huge match in that championship at the foot of the table.
Yes, it is, Peter, and week on week, you know, we keep on saying about how important it is for St Mirren and Dumbarton, Ayr United, Wraith Rovers at the bottom end of the championship to pick up points. But I'll use a little analogy of we're sitting here down in Paisley in the sunshine, we're watching all the aircraft taking off, heading off to sunnier climes. For the St Mirren fans, it's all happened for them since Jack Ross, turn of the year, changed the squad around, and they have definitely taken lift off. Only one defeat in the last 8 games, 3 wins in the bounce. Today, conceivably, St Mirren could jump to 8th position depending on results elsewhere. Dumbarton, however, are a terrific team under Stevie Aitken and punching well above their weight in the championship. I had a coffee with Stevie earlier on today, and he was, you know, so happy with his side last week. Again, turned up and took 3 points against Morton, game that we covered on the football show. And Stevie has said, you know, that just time and time again his players step up to the plate. They've already won here in Paisley this season, so Jack Ross and his players will know that it is a very tough task ahead, but the rewards are there for them. If they win today, conceivably they could jump to 8th in the championship.
Yeah, do you know why I love sending you to Paisley, Des? Because there's always something going on behind you that you're not privy to. And last week it was Jim Spence dancing behind you. And would you believe, behind you there was a little girl always just waving and desperately trying to say hi to the camera. It's just a fun. Paisley's great, you know. There's always something going on.
Peter, can I tell you that the young lady in question is here with her father, who's a reporter, and she actually does her own report on the game as well. She generally sits down in front of us, but because of the attention in the game today, press box is getting kind of squeezed. We've taken up 2 or 3 extra seats, but we'll not tell anybody that until after the game. And they're expecting a big crowd here today. They're expecting somewhere close to between 5,000 and 6,000. I will hide check. Don't worry about that.
Was it a good view up the top of Ben Lomond this morning when we were having that tea?
No mountains today. No
It
mountains
wasn't
today.
tea, it was coffee.
Yeah, I've got to say, Des, you're getting ever closer to running. You're getting ever closer to running the London Marathon for Macmillan Cancer Support. I mean, how far away are we from the big race?
2 weeks tomorrow, Peter. We go down to London 2 weeks yesterday. There's a team of 20 of us going down under the Team McKeown guys. That's our kind of charity team. 20 people heading down to London in a fortnight. The race is 2 weeks tomorrow around the streets of London, which covers a huge amount of symbolic sites of the city, and we even go out into Macca's Manor. We go out into the East End.
I've still got some contacts there,
so
mate.
popular, and I'm sure you have. If you've got any on a motorbike, you can give me a wee run between mile 15 and 22. That would be much appreciated.
That's magnificent, Des. And we wish you the very
good
best.
luck.
And of course, 2 weeks from now, Des won't be with us. Gerard Butler, a guy with a full head of hair and muscles, will be replacing Des as our reporter out there in Paisley. We need somebody who can handle themselves. Anyway, Des, just one other little footnote on that. Stevie Aitken was well pleased with the result they got last week. I think everybody, is there a danger that everybody's focusing what St Mirren do and Dumbarton are almost like an afterthought here?
There probably is a bit of that, Peter. I think, with all due respect to Dumbarton, all eyes are on St Mirren, because the thought of St Mirren dropping into the third tier of Scottish football is probably unthinkable for many. And with that in mind, Dumbarton are going about their business quietly in the background, as I started off by saying, punching well above their weight, still a part-time club. Stevie Aitken is a young man that I've got a huge amount of time for. I think he has performed magnificently, down at Stranraer to start with, and now at Dumbarton. I know that there's one or two clubs have kept an eye on how Stephen has been performing as a manager, and I'm pretty sure that he will get his chance to go up the leagues in the not too distant future, and that's purely down to the quality of work that he's put in at first of all Stranraer, and then secondly at Dumbarton. So yeah, they might not be the headline within the game today, but they will certainly influence the game, because, as I said already, they haven't been beaten this year by St Mirren. 2 draws at Dumbarton and a victory here on the 5th of November against St Mirren. So they hold all the aces, and they have their own fight, in terms of the relegation issues. But the big win last week takes them on to 7th place. So from that perspective, anything at all today gives them further hope of retaining their championship status.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on what's happening there in Paisley, Des. Of course, elsewhere today, Dundee United against Falkirk is another match we'll be keeping a close eye on. And let's not forget, in that division alone, Dunfermline against Wraith Rovers could actually, again, if that doesn't go according to plan for John Hughes' side, then if St Mirren can get the win, then he could actually find himself, Jack Ross's side, climbing further away from the relegation at the bottom of the table. It's going to be an interesting afternoon in the Championship. Of course, we'll hear from some of the managers, including Neil Lennon of Hibs very shortly. But let's switch our attention back to the Premiership. We've given you the teams from Celtic against Kilmarnock. Again, we mentioned that Brendan Rodgers has signed a new deal. There's speculation in some of the papers, Maka, that Moussa Dembele is now favourites to join Liverpool. It continues. It must annoy Celtic fans that, there's, if it's not Rodgers being the main target for the likes of Arsenal he's been associated with, or Tottenham, suddenly Dembele, this is gathering pace now.
Well, listen, the boy's done magnificent. He's absolutely done brilliant. I think he's happy. I think he's so happy to be at Celtic Park. He's so happy to work under Brendan Rodgers. He'll be delighted Brendan has signed a new contract and he's staying. I think him, Armstrong, all the ones that are getting touted, it's only because they're playing well, Peter.
Yeah.
It happens at every walk of life. You're doing well, you get headhunted. These boys will not be going anywhere, I don't think, for another season anyway.
Interesting you say that. Of course, some people were speculating that Brendan Rodgers would be on his way. He signed that 4-year deal, and the Chief Executive, Peter Lawwell, says it's been a remarkable season under the manager.
I don't think anyone could have predicted that a new manager coming in the first season doing as well that he has done and the guys have done. I think it's been remarkable. And as I said, and I know Brendan's the same, remarkable first season. We need to keep going and improving. So yes, I think the honest answer to that would be yeah.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers, well happy with his deal. Peter Lawwell, delighted to get him on a 4-year deal because, of course, it was a rolling contract. Dembele, Ruffy, can you see him another season? Do you agree with Maka?
Yeah. I think it all depends who wants him and how much money we're talking about here. I always worry with the big clubs, you know, there's usually a really good story followed by a sort of a, you know, one the supporters don't want to hear, you know, and sometimes they try to cover one against the other. I think it all depends on the money.
I understand that, but you go to Liverpool, he's not going to be a starter at Liverpool. He's not going to walk right into that team at Liverpool. So I think he could get lost. I think he's needing, and Brendan will tell him that. And Brendan will say, look, he knows Liverpool. Look at the strikers down there that are not getting games at Liverpool. I think the boy's great, but his confidence is high. He'll think he can go in anywhere. But I think he's only a young boy. He's only 20-year-old.
Yeah,
I think another year up here would do him, and European football would be great for him.
I don't disagree with another year in European football, but if Celtic get hit with a £30 million transfer fee, then there's only one way he's going to go, and that is he's going to leave. You know, because Brendan Rodgers wants to rebuild the team for the European. He'll have a budget, obviously, but if he's armed with another £30 million with Dembele, he could move the team on.
Peter, it works both ways with managers, players. You want the manager to stay. The players wanted the manager to stay. The manager's not going to sign a contract if he thinks that the players are just going to go and leave every time an offer comes in. It's not going to happen that way now.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mac. Brendan Rodgers is well used to someone putting in a bid that he's got no power over it. I give you Luis Suarez.
Yes.
But over and above that, I think the next 2 games against Rangers, which have, as you're well aware, a global audience.
Yes.
I think the people who are scouting Moussa Dembele will look at that game and think to themselves, if he performs there again on that stage, then I think, you know, Celtic might have to fend off a big offer. Whether it's enough to actually get them to bolt the door and say no, he's going to stay for another season is another matter. I think both of you have got very good points on it. Well, let's switch our attention to a man who's not at this moment in his time in charge enjoying the best of times, and that's Ian Cathro. Hearts against Dundee today. The Hearts boss has come under fire for a run of results which are poor, to say the least. 6 out of the last 7 they've failed to win, and haven't managed to get a goal in 5 of their games. It's not been good for Hearts, but Ian Cathro reckons that some people are actually gloating on the fact that he's not doing well. They want Hearts to fail.
Just now there are probably more people than normal that are keen to see this club lose, or let's say not win. We can all imagine what the factors are in that, and I think what I say to back that up is that, you know, if they're choosing to do that, then I would suggest they're probably choosing the wrong people, and that I sit here as a strong person, very ready to deal with any of this, to however long or to whichever extent people choose. It's fine.
Well, I'm going to say something to you, Ruffy. I think he's talking a lot of nonsense because, quite simply, it's not a case, if people want him to fail, who cares? That doesn't matter. What Ian Cathro's got to do is just produce results for the Hearts fans and the Hearts board. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he's obviously trying to turn into some kind of siege mentality that the players will react to, that Aberdeen used to do it, that every time you come down to Glasgow, but everybody doesn't like you, they don't want to see you winning, and that's what he's trying to do. But you're right, he's got to win games. He's got to, you know, start showing the supporters that he is the right man for the job. And with the stats that you've just read out there, at this moment in time, he isn't proving anybody wrong. You know, so he's got to start winning games, and particularly at home. And he's right that not everybody wants to see them fail, but your local rivals want to see you fail, you know, and I'm talking about Hibs, and the same as Hearts want to see Hibs failing. But as far as like the Motherwells and the Partick Thistles and the St Johnsons, I don't think they'd be wanting to, don't see any reason why they'd want to see Hearts failing.
The boy was against Celtic, it took off the look, the boy up front, centre forward, I think it was, he took off.
Johnson.
The boy that's...
Calvis.
Aye, he took off, and the look he gave the manager was... And I thought he was the only one that was doing something up front. I mean, he was getting him, he was causing problems to the Celtic defence. The Celtic had a couple of shots, good keepers saved it, but you know, the look that he gave the manager when he walked off, it was like as if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, again, that's all speculation on whether he thinks that or not. But nevertheless, he's got to produce results. He's got 2 games coming up, Dundee and Kilmarnock, where I think he's got to produce something. His team have got to step up to the plate, or indeed, I think the pressure intensifies even more when you consider when he joined, Hearts were second in the league. This is the Hearts side for today. Jack Hamilton, Alexander Ziolis, Perry Kitchen, Jamie Walker, Prince Babin, Arnaud Jim, Don Cowie, Christian Novak, Liam Smith, Anders Struna and Isma Goncalves as well. So I think that's close, Ruffy, to his strongest side.
Yeah, it's strongest side, the players that he's brought in. So he really has to believe that they're going to turn the corner. I personally think they will turn the corner today. I think Dundee are an easy one of the
Such a
teams that are
great
there
place to play your football as well,
Yeah,
isn't it? Tynecastle, it's a great atmosphere. And I'm thinking, why would they not want to? I mean,
it might be one. It might be. I mean, you kind of disagree with a lot of things he's saying. They are making chances. They're just not scoring them. I mean, against Celtic before they get obviously run over the top, they had 2 or 3 chances. So it might be one of these days that against Dundee they'll get the chances because everybody else is getting chances against Dundee. So I think they'll take them.
There's a lot of rumours coming out of Tynecastle as well that Craig Levine's got something to do with too much influence on him.
Yeah.
I think if you're a manager, Peter, you can't have that. I mean,
Well,
I think Robbie Nielsen was the same. Any time they get beat, he says Craig picked the team and all that, and when he won, that was. I mean, he made a joke at it, but I think he's not got the sense of humour that Robbie's got. So I think you've got to be strong. And just don't take any outside influence.
Yeah, to be fair, in the last couple of weeks he has actually nailed that whole Levine thing. I think quite simply the manager lives or dies by his results. If he doesn't get them, people will call for his head. Scott Baines in goal for Dundee, by the way. Kevin Holt, James Vincent, Darren O'Dea, Tom Haitley, Mark O'Hara, Paul McGowan, Marcus Haber, Henrik Oyama, Cammy Kerr and Daniel Higgins. That's a starting 11 for Dundee, and they haven't been on any great form. It's quite incredible. I mean, Hartley wins Manager of the Month in February, and then since then, I mean, it's just all collapsed for them. They're now in 9th place, and I think very much in that battle to avoid relegation or indeed a playoff place, so they're up against it. Partick Thistle against Motherwell. I can just tell you, Ruffy, it's all looking great for your old side. The Jags have just been on great form, and they're unbeaten in the last 7 Premiership games.
Yeah, and I think confidence is there for everybody to see. Even when they go away from home, you know, they look pretty solid. They're not losing goals the way they used to. They're getting shutouts. They're winning games. So the whole place is absolutely buzzing. And obviously coming away to Parkhead with a draw in midweek will give them confidence as well. But I think they know the importance of this game against Motherwell today. They need to take something out of it to establish the top 6 place, and I think the encouraging thing from Thistle's point of view is I don't think Louis Molt's going to be fit for this game, so he's a massive big player for them. So if he's not playing, I think they've got a wee chance of getting something today.
Yeah, and of course Alan Archibald has done a tremendous job at Firhill, and he himself acknowledges top 6 for Thistle would be superb.
It'll be a great achievement for the players and everybody associated with the club, and great for the fans as well. And hopefully we can do it on Saturday ourselves by winning the game against Motherwell. It'll be a tough game. We know everybody's got something to play for in the league at the moment, so it'll be real competitive. But to do it at home with a win would be fantastic, and it would allow us to go and plan for the future. But the biggest thing for me, it allows me to plan. It allows us to move on and start planning for pre-season, because if you don't make it, you're always looking over your shoulder. That's what happened to us last year, and that's the biggest thing. Obviously the finance that comes with it is also great, more money, and I think cash flow. The club gets a payment earlier as well, so it ticks loads of boxes.
Yeah, a number of clubs were sniffing around Alan Archibald. I think more will be looking at him in the summer after this achievement, because it's been a great season for Thistle. They're starting 11 today: Thomas Cherney, Mustafa Dumbuya, Liam Lindsay, Chris Doolan, Chris Erskine, Stephen Lawless, Adam Barton, Christy Elliott, Daniel Devine, Niall Keown and Ryan Edwards. And I think when you read that team out, he's got 2 or 3 players capable of doing something out of the ordinary, you know, to win a game, either in supply or scoring.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the wee boy Ryan Edwards. I think he's had a great season, and that is the Thistle's best side. I think all the best players are available there, and the thing about the Thistle team is they've all got energy. They play a wee bit like Hamilton. When they lose the ball, they work really hard to get it back again. And obviously, if you get Chris Doolan with a lot of confidence, scoring goals, they're going to go into the game with confidence. But I think Motherwell know what this game is all about today, because they're slipping near that playoff place as well. They've been in it before, they'll not want to be in it again. So I think this will get a hard game today.
I think football's a great thing with confidence, Peter, and I think this was got the momentum and confidence to go into this game and get a win, I think.
Yeah, Motherwell's side, interestingly enough, Craig Sampson in goal, Ben Hennigan, Carol McHugh, Ryan Bowman, celebrating being a dad, congratulations to you, Chris Cadden, Elliot Freer, Craig Clay, Zach Jules, Shea Gordon, Scott McDonald and Stephen Pearson. They're not out of it by any manner of means, Ruffy.
No, they aren't, and I think the midweek game there against Hamilton was evident of that, and we all know they've got good strikers, but sometimes your strikers go off the boil and you've got to have other players who step in, and unfortunately for Morton, as for Motherwell, they haven't had that. They haven't had anybody from midfield chipping in with a fair share of goals, so that puts pressure on everybody else. So, but no, I still think, Motherwell Partick games have always been close throughout the year, so I think it'll be a close one today.
Okay. In the other match, it's Hamilton against Ross County. Hamilton unbeaten in 6 games at home, 3 wins, 3 draws. And when I look at Ross County, they are under real pressure. Just won 1 of their last 8 away games. And one fan had come to Dingwall with a banner saying McIntyre out. Which I think is absolutely preposterous to suggest such a thing. I think the majority of sensible county fans will realise the job that Jim McIntyre has done up there at Dingwall. Silverware and, of course, keeping them in the Premiership is always the key, and they've got a battle, but they're more than capable under the auspices of a very capable manager as well. Do you agree? You can give us your thoughts on that. We're going to hear from Neil Lennon after this quick break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. One early kick-off in the Premier League in England has finished Tottenham 4, Watford 0. So a good result for Maurizio Pochettino's side. We're into the Championship. We're going to go back to Capello for Morton against Hibernian. And of course, Jim Duffy and Neil Lennon have had a cuddle, so there's no possibility of a set 2 ahead of this game trackside. This is what Neil Lennon had to say about Morton ahead of this game.
More or less feel that we're almost there. It would be nice to go to Capello and win. It's a very difficult place to go. But we know what's at stake, and I feel 2 wins should be enough. But obviously I want a lot more between now and the end of the season. So we're going there with, the premise to do what we always do and be positive and try and win the game.
Yeah, getting ever closer to the title, and Kevin Harper is there with both teams.
Teams are in, Peter. Morton have made 3 changes from last week's defeat at Dumbarton. Out go Shanklin, Donnelly and Tiffany, and in come the front three of Oliver, Forbes and Nesbitt. Their team is Gaston in goal, Lammy, O'Ware, Doyle, Oliver, Forbes, Lindsay, Nesbitt, Tisdale, Russell and Murdoch. And Neil Lennon's side make 1 change. Out goes McLean and in comes the captain, David Gray. Their team, Marciano in goals, Gray, Bartley, McGinn, McGeoch, Stevenson, Boyle, McGregor, Ambrose, Graham and Cummings.
I'm going to ask you this, Kevin. Sometimes, to take the sting out of a volatile situation, both managers do the sensible thing. They've done that. To take the sting out of the situation in the stands among supporters, do you think maybe the police have gone into both sets of players and said, look, calm this down, don't do anything to inflame a situation which has already had quite a fair bit of hype?
I think they may have, Peter. You would like to think so. The last thing we want to be doing, as I said earlier, is talking about off-field problems, between the managers. We want to, sit and watch a game and enjoy a game of football with good attacking players. But, the 2 managers are feisty. Neil Lennon certainly has brought a steel to Hibs that they haven't had in the past couple of years. And Jim Duffy has always been that feisty, but to be honest, Jim's a bit quieter now, but he'll be still in there at the changing room, just want his team to go out and fight for every ball and make it very difficult for Hibs today.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. In the early days, when I knew Maka, he was feisty, always ready for an argument. Now, age catches up, you get that little bit more calm, Maka. Let's go to St Mirren. Des McKeown is there ahead of that one. I don't think there'll be any friction between Jack Ross and Steve Aitken. What about the strength of the teams on show, Des?
Well, unsurprisingly, Peter, both sides, it's minimal changes ahead of 2 big results for either side last week. St Mirren make 1 change. Lewis Morgan drops out, injured until the end of the season. He's replaced by Gary Irvine. That means that St Mirren, after their victory over Ayr United last week, line up today with Billy O'Brien in goals, a right back of Gary Irvine. Then it's Jack Baird, Gary McKenzie and Adam Eckersley. Midfield, they're likely to have Stelios Dimitriou wide left. We'll have Stevie Mallon, Stevie McGinn in the middle of the park with Kyle McGuinness wide right. Up front will be Cammy Smith just off of Rory Loy. On the bench, Langfield, Gordon, Quinn, Sutton, Fielda and Todd. For Stevie Aitken, it's the same again as defeated Morton last week at Boghead, New Boghead. And that means that they have Alan Martin in goals, a back 4 of David Smith, Gregor Buchanan, Darren Barr and Daniel Harvey, a sitting 2 of Ross McCrory and Stuart Caswell. 3 in front of that will be Lewis Vaughan, Sam Stanton and Andy Stirling, and up top on his own will be Robert Thompson, who's in terrific form and scoring goals. On the bench, Ewings, Lang, Gallagher, Pryor, Nuttall and Christian Nadi. Our referee is Stephen Kirtland.
Okay, we're going to come back to you very shortly, Des, just to get a quick insight into who you think is going to win that match. But let's switch your attention to one other match from the Premiership, which still has something to play for, and that's Inverness Cally Thistle. Today, they have got a real battle on their hands against a St Johnstone side that have had some off-the-field problems, which started on the field last week. And, of course, that's St Johnstone acting quickly to give a fine, the maximum fine they could give give to both players, Danny Swanson and Richard Foster, Ruffy, for fighting on the pitch. Both got a red card last week, and they've been given a maximum 4 weeks wage fine.
Yeah, and I think that's just a warning to everybody else, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, 4 weeks' wages is a lot, for anybody. But the two boys have accepted it, and obviously they're using the money to the club's expense. They're getting buses and all that off the fines and everything. That's something that happened to Macca's fees when he got fined. But night sit and
supposed to pay for a night out, but we all went on holiday.
No, I think
the fines are paid.
I think the good thing about it is, they've dealt with it quickly and they've moved on, and all credit to them dropping the two players and getting a win. They'll dig in today up at Inverness, but I mean, the Inverness manager believes that they're just ready to turn the corner, so this is a game they need to get 3 points in.
Okay, as far as Inverness's starting 11 is concerned, it's Fawn Williams, Tremarco, McNaughton, Warren, Draper, McCart, Mackay, Tansey, Fisher, Lang and Cole. St Johnstone, Manus, Scobie, Alston, McLean, Shaughnessy, Smith, Coulson, Payton, Easton, Craig and Cummins is the starting 11 there for St Johnstone in that match. So we've covered all matches in the Premiership. We'll be looking at some of the games in the Championship. We will go over all the fixtures for you as well. And then we'll get ready for the big kick-off. We'll get some predictions. Frank McAvenny and Alan Ruff will give us their predictions. They are looking at them at the moment. And then we'll also throw in our selection for the Grand National, the horses we believe are going to be in the mix at the end. So lots to talk about this afternoon. We've also got an interview with Eric McAleer to talk about coaching opportunities for footballers here in Scotland. Join us after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. I've got my work cut out this afternoon. These two guys are on top form. It could be feisty over the course of the afternoon if it doesn't go according to plan. Kick-off fast approaching, guys. Here's what's on offer in the Premiership, and the results as they come in will either make you happy on a sunny Saturday afternoon or slightly angrier over the next 90 minutes or so. Here's the Premiership. Celtic against Kilmarnock, Hamilton Ross County, Hearts against Dundee, Inverness Cally Thistle against St Johnstone, and Partick Thistle against Motherwell. We will discuss later on in the programme that match up at Pittodrie, Aberdeen against Rangers on the Sunday. In the Championship, Ayr United Queen of the South, Dundee United Falkirk, Dunfermline Wraith Rovers, Morton against Hibernian, and St Mirren against Dumbarton. In League One, Airdrieonians versus Brecon City, Albion Rovers against Stranraer, Livingston Alloa, Queen's Park Peterhead, and Stenhouse Muir against East Fife. And in League 2, Berwick Rangers against Stirling Albion, Clyde Annan Athletic, Edinburgh City Cowdenbeath, Elgin City Montrose, and Forfar against Arbroath. And in the Premier League in England, as you can see, one match already finished. Tottenham 4, Watford 0. It's Manchester City against Hull City, Middlesbrough Burnley, Stoke City, Liverpool, West Brom Southampton, West Ham against Swansea, and Bournemouth at home to Chelsea. The Blues maybe getting ever closer to that title, unless, of course, Tottenham can catch them. They had a similar situation last season, but it was Leicester who prevailed. Will Antonio Conte's side get the victory today against Bournemouth and get close to clinching the Premier League title? You can give us your thoughts today at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. So let's go to Capello. Kevin Harper is there. Kevin, Morton against Hibs. They couldn't get a goal in the last encounter. How do you think this one's going to finish?
I think it's going to finish. I think Hibs will be taking another giant step towards the Premier League today, Peter. You know, I don't very often go against my old club, but today I think they'll be too strong for Morton. I haven't seen them last week, Morton. They look very tired, so for me I think it's going to be 3-1 Hibs today.
Okay, 4 goals. Well, we certainly hope you get the goals there, Kevin. So, Macca, do you agree with Kevin Harper?
I think Hibs will win it, yeah. Whether there's 4 goals, I don't know. I think Lenny and Hibs boys will take 1-0. They'll take it and just get over the line. And then they can maybe give some players a rest and you know, and see what happens with Lenny with the semi-final. He's hoping he's going to be in the touchline for the semi-final, but that's his big problem. He'll think about that after at 20-5 tonight.
I think it'll be really tight. I think it'll be the same as probably Easter Road. I'm not like everybody, like the rest of you who think this is done and dusted. I think the players will still be smart and feel what happened at that last game, Easter Road. I think it'll be fast and furious. I think tackles will be going in left, right and centre. And I think it will depend on which of the two teams, you know, stand up and be counted. And I think Morton will give Hibs a bit of a game today. But with Cummins playing, you're always looking at him to snatch the winner. But I think it'll be tense right up until the end.
You're a Scorpio. You don't forgive people, do you?
No, I'm just saying players don't forgive either. I don't think players forget things so very easily. And I know we're talking about, and I was showing Peter, you know, Neil Lennon coming down the tunnel and Duff coming to him and shaking his hand and getting a cuddle. There was no dialogue at all. He just walked away, he just walked right down the tunnel. You would have thought they would maybe stood and had a wee chat and how you doing, how you getting on, but there was none of that. Cuddle, shake, down the tunnel.
You've got to get the business done. It's a business end. I think it's
Ruffy, you're reading too much into it. And in fact, I think the more shocking thing, just before we get to kick-off, is not the potential flashpoints that you've suggested are going to happen. It's the moment when Macca turned around and said, "Are you a Scorpio?" I mean, honestly,
all Scorpios I'm a Scorpio. They don't forgive easily.
I'm like
that all the time. That's why I know you've done a few things to me recently.
Absolutely.
We won't go there.
I know a few people who are Scorpios. Who'd have thought we'd all be talking about you know, what your star sign is. Des McKeown is at New St Mirren Park. Des, what's your star sign?
Des McKeown, Capricorn.
Oh, there we are. Look at the face. Look at the face. Are Capricorns forgiving people, Des?
Who are you talking to? No, I'm not. I'm not actually sure, Peter. It's unlike Macca. It's not something that I take too seriously. And can you believe me saying Macca takes something seriously? No, I don't know what the characteristics of Capricorns are, but yes, I'm a Capricorn. So there you go.
Well, let's hope Capricorns are decisive. Who's going to win that game?
Do you know something, Peter? Capricorns, one of the characteristics is they sit in the fence all the time. So I'm actually going to say St Mirren are going to win. I think the momentum is with St Mirren. They have Morton on Tuesday night down at Capello, which is another terrific game. This is our second last home game at the 2020 or Paisley 2021 Stadium. And I just think with the momentum that they've built, with the players' performance week in, week out from Jack Ross, I can see them making it their fourth victory on the bounce in the league. And with that in mind, I think that will be a huge step for them to get that safety in the Championship. I think it will be quite a tight game, but I think that St Mirren will be victorious by the odd goal in 3.
Okay, Ruffy, good day with him.
Yeah, I think the momentum of St Mirren last week, with the amount of goals they scored, I think the training would have been good this week. They were really looking forward to the game. I think Dumbarton will know they'll be in a tough game today. I think St Mirren could win most possibly 3-0.
Oh, wow. 3-0, that's a convincing one. Macca?
You know what, I'll take any kind of win for St Mirren because, I mean, it was only 4 or 5 weeks ago we were saying they were down. You know, so I was optimistic. I was a wee bit like Ruffy with what he was with Thistle or Dundee United last season when he says he wouldn't get down up to the last couple of games, but I think that the momentum's a big thing, and Ruffy touched on it. I think they'll beat Dumbarton.
Okay, predictions as the kick-off approaches in the Premiership in Scotland. Ruffy, who's going to win, Celtic or Kilmarnock?
I think Celtic will win this one. Obviously stuttered a wee bit in midweek, but they've got the bigger players back today. Although Dembele isn't there, I think Celtic will win 3-0.
Macca?
Yeah, I think Celtic will win comfortable. Yeah, 2-3-0, yeah.
Hamilton Accies against Ross County, Macca?
I'm going to take a draw in that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go one each. I don't think any of the two of them have got 2 goals in them.
Yeah. Are you waiting there, Ruffy, for Macca to elaborate on Hamilton Ross County?
No, I knew exactly what I was going to say.
One each.
There you go.
Hearts Dundee. This is the one where I think, again, when you talk about moments in the season, Macca, where somebody really has to give some evidence that there's a revival on.
I think one each.
No, I'm going to go for a convincing Hearts win today.
I think they've got
1-0.
it.
I think it'll be 2-0.
That's really convincing.
I think that there's something no right about the setup and with the players. If they're no, I know you've got to do it in the pitch, Peter, but if there's no a response for the manager, and I think just think it's going to be Dundee will get in there and put up a fight and
get a draw.
Yeah, get a draw.
Okay, Inverness Cally Thistle against St Johnstone, Macca.
St Johnstone to win.
Yeah, Muffy.
One each for me again.
And Partick Thistle against Motherwell. Should I even bother looking at you, Ruffy?
2-1 Partick Thistle.
Okay, there you are. I could have dubbed in previous shows in the last 52 weeks.
I'll go with that.
You going with that as well?
I'll go with Thistle to win 1-0, 2-1. Yeah.
Mac is an ex-maybe Thistle player.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there for a day.
I was in the centre circle with a strip on.
Well, absolutely. And that's exactly. There's great comparisons between you and Maurice Johnson. Both of you like to parade in various strips along the way. Yeah. Clyde 1, Annan Athletic 0. Chris Smith, that's the first goal of the afternoon in League 2. So Clyde with the opening goal against Jim Chapman's side. Things looking good there for Peter McDonald and his boys. We'll keep you up to date with all the action right across the first half and the second half as well. If the goals go in, you'll get reaction from Ruffy and Macca, and we're also going to be looking ahead to Aberdeen against Rangers. It's often a feisty affair. It's got a bad bit of history associated with it. We'll hear from Pedro Caixinha. We'll hear from Derek McInnes as well. Ahead of that game, we'll get the predictions too on it, and you can give us your thoughts throughout the afternoon. We'll read out some of your messages at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Also, we like to feature a few interviews that might get you talking, might get you interested. There are various players, up and down the country who are looking for somewhere else to kickstart their career or a new venture somewhere across the world. I caught up with a former player, Eric McAleer, who over 20 years ago decided to go to America, and this Scot set up a coaching school for lots of American kids and then developed coaches to give them the opportunity to manage teams in the United States as well. And he's brought a lot of Scottish players, former players over there to continue their careers in coaching, to pass on their professional football knowledge. And of course, I have mentioned to Eric in this interview about the work that he's done with the SFA and giving people an opportunity to start their career somewhere else.
Been great, Peter. We came up with this idea 4 or 5 years ago. I'd gone to the SFA and in my experience in North America, every street corner I bumped into Scottish people and ex players and guys that I'd crossed paths with or played against, and people that the Kenny Brannigans, Davy Robertson, Alec Burke, Davy Bagan, Brian Welsh. And what we come up with this concept is we formed a North American Scottish Coaches Association. It's quite a subculture. And what we do is we've got this really tight-knit group of about 175 guys. And the main benefit of it is to develop or give opportunities for Scottish guys in North America, from a coach education opportunities, from player development opportunities, for job opportunities. And we've formed this group. We meet once a year at the North American Scottish Coaches Association at the convention, which is the largest convention in the world. We have a panel, we get together, we do a social, we do a kind of State of the Union, what's going on in Scotland right now. And normally that's either Jim Fleeting or Donald Part or Donald Gillis that does that. But it kind of gels the Scots together, and it's a great group. We kind of all look out for each other. Andy Kennedy up in Canada, Tommy Wilson in Philadelphia. I could keep going, and it's guys who have had a good career here and then moved to a new life, a new direction. And really, I look at Tommy Wilson, for example, who was a fantastic player, had a great career here. He's doing a phenomenal job as the academy director at Philadelphia Union in the MLS. They have probably got one of the top academies in MLS. And Tommy's really getting some good feathers in his cap right now for the job that he's done there. Yeah. So it shows you the Scottish coach, and again it goes back to Largs and our infrastructure and our backbone and our coaching education that is still well respected throughout the world, and we've got these guys going over there really spreading the word and doing a good job.
Now, for anybody, a footballer who's maybe coming to the end of his career, or someone who maybe is looking for a change in direction, what do they have to do? What should they be looking for to get in contact with you, and obviously the type of thing that you can offer them?
And I think, I'm a huge believer in the lifestyle and the opportunity. Is the land of opportunity. If you go there and work hard and do the right thing and keep your nose clean, America is the land of opportunity. Football is, it is the #1 participant sport in North America. And so there's so many opportunities for ex-players or people who are just finishing up. Certainly reach out to me through social media or through, the Scottish FA. And what we try and do is open the doors to everybody. Is probably the biggest challenge is qualifying for a work visa in North America. Canada is a little easier. But, there's guys coming over all the time. Gordon Young, who was #2 at Dundee United, just taking the job in California just over the last 3 months. So there's still a lot of opportunities. If you have the right pedigree, you have the coaching licence, you have the background, you have the resume, you can jump over a lot of hoops and they can get you in on different visas based on your background. So certainly, if you've been at a good level, coached at a good level, there's a lot of good opportunities over there.
What do you make of that, Ruffy? That's Eric McAleer of World Stride Sports. Again, giving Scottish coaches the potential opportunity if they can get to a certain level and get, obviously, a work permit to go to America.
Yeah, we see a lot of players now travelling the world, so why shouldn't the coaches? It's very, very difficult for a young coach to break into any club. Sometimes you've got to start at the bottom and work your way up, but certainly going abroad is the place to be. I mean, there's so much coaching facilities over there, far, far superior than what we've got here. They're actually clubs who own their own land and their own training ground and everything. So And a lot of the Scottish boys have went over there and done particularly well. And if you can go over there with all your badges, learn as much as you can, come back with a CV, you might have a better chance of getting a job here.
Yep, absolutely. Good to hear from Eric and the good work he's doing. We always like to keep our finger on the pulse of Scottish players, former players and coaches. I always like to see them do well, Mac. It's a strange thing about our country. If somebody goes to work elsewhere, you always like to keep your eye on them. Although when I look at David Moyes down at Sunderland at the moment, I think the word is desperation that he has used to sum up his predicament as the Sunderland boss.
I think it was the wrong shout for. I mean, we spoke about it when David went there. I thought it was the wrong club. I thought they were in trouble. I thought it took a special, kind of manager like Big Sam to drag people and keep them up. And I just think that he was fighting from day one. The players are not good enough. I thought they would go down, but they're going to keep him by the looks of it. But he said the dreaded chairman's backing, which 9 out of 10 means that you're getting sacked. But it was good, you've got. It was good to see him laughing the other night when he was. I can't remember who they were playing. They were playing the other night, and because of this thing, they weren't singing "You're getting sacked in the morning." They were singing "You're getting slapped in the morning."
Yeah, Leicester.
And I thought it was against Leicester, and I thought, David was laughing. I thought, it's a bit. It was good to see him smiling again.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs the results though, and it's a results-driven business, and some boards just get a little bit jittery. Let's hope Sunderland hold their nerve and stick by what they said, which was he would be the manager in the Championship if they go down, and it certainly looks that way at the moment. Thanks to George, who's he sent us a message on Facebook. He says, "Hi guys, just like to ask you, do you think Neil Lennon will get the cash for next season to compete with the top teams?" Ruffy?
I don't think there'll be a lot of cash, but I think there'll be a budget that he'll probably wheel and deal in. I don't think there'll be any big money signings coming in, but certainly he's got an eye for a player, Neil. He'll have contacts down in England to bring maybe some players up for there. But certainly when you look at our SPFL, you would think Hibs are organised enough now to go in and there compete, because I think the rest of the teams down the bottom aren't fantastic. So I think anybody coming up this year will have a good chance to maybe just be at the top of that top six.
I think that's the most important thing, what you said there, contacts. I think he's got contacts, and that's why he's went there, and I think he'll use his contacts and get some players up next year. As Ruffy says, there'll not be a lot of money, but there'll be enough players to bring up, and decent players that he can bring up, and as Ruffy says, he's certainly got the eye for a good player, so he'll need somebody. He'll not just bring somebody up because they're decent players. They've got to fit into the team, fit into the workings of that club, and Neil will certainly do that.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Ruffy, only one goal in the Premiership at the moment, just Massimo Donati's goal for Hamilton. And again, that's the day when you start looking at the opposition at the bottom end.
Yeah, you certainly do, and if Hamilton can get a second goal, I think they'll be more confident in winning that one, because Ross County are on a downer just now.
Yeah, there's a goal in the Championship. Let's go to Paisley. Des McKeown.
Yes, 10 minutes gone, Peter. All excited here in Paisley, and it's St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. The ball's been worked across the right hand side of the pitch. It's Cammy Smith is fed across to Kyle McGuinness in the wide right area. He's tucked inside from Daniel Harvey, the left back, and he's buried a shot below past Alan Martin in the Dumbarton goal. It's St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0.
So, the breakthrough that we all anticipated, Macca.
Well, I was on here a couple of months ago and I said Jack Ross was a great fit for. He knows the club. He knows the club inside out. He was a player there. He knows the workings. Him and Tony Fitzpatrick, they've got a great working relationship. The new people that have come in, I don't know them, to be honest with you, but they're obviously all working together. And Jack's, he went to the other one, and you've got to say they were playing decent football, and that's when they get noticed. And he's came to St Mirren, and I think he'll do very well there. And I think next year he'll be pushing for the Premiership again.
OK, goal number 102 of his Partick Thistle career. Chris Doolan has put the Jags in front against Motherwell, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's not got a T-shirt under his strip this time. Could that be another yellow card? I think everybody missed that last week. They thought it was going to be, that's nice, he's got 101 goals. They won't give him a yellow card, but he did get one. Fantastic. great, and he's been. I didn't know he was there since, was it 2009 or something like that. He's been there since, so he'll be racking up the games as well. I have to actually keep my eye on that. He doesn't catch
he gets
up
more
with
than
me.
you.
But no, I have to be there for another 15 years to catch me.
How many games did you play for Partick Thistle?
642.
How many games did you play you never let a goal in?
Oh, that's... no, I'll tell you, if you ask Robert Reid, the historian up there, in the time I was there, I had 140 shutouts.
Was that because Hansen was in front of you?
And I had a good defence then.
Did you? Who was the defenders? Hansen and...
Oh, there was that many. There was that many. When you're at that club for 15 years, which you would never ever have thought of being staying at a club for 15 years.
I was in a game 15 years.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Isma Goncalves has scored for Hearts. They are 1 goal up on Dundee. So, you know, everything that we were talking about earlier is all starting to come out now. Hearts have got the goal. Goncalves, a man that you said looked as if he'd worked well in the game against Celtic despite the 5-0 scoreline. He grafted and he's got the goal for Hearts, and that will be a welcome sight for Ian Cathro, who's been under the cosh. This might just alleviate the pain, but I'll tell you, it won't alleviate the pain for Dundee's Paul Hartley. He's got his work cut out there. Dundee, I thought they would be top 6. Suddenly it's all collapsed for them, and I can tell you there's a goal in the Championship as well. Ayr 0, Queen of the South 1. So Ayr United, again, in the space of 5 minutes, Ruffy, suddenly everything is going well for St Mirren.
Yeah, and what's been happening in that division is, I mean, particularly St Mirren have been coming in and winning games and then sitting down in the dressing room and then listening to all the other scores coming through. And other teams are picking up points as well. You know, you think you've come in, great result, and then, we're not any further on, we're still behind. But I think today will be significant, obviously, if the scores stay the same, because I think this will be a massive leap for St Mirren if they win this one, because I can't see Ayr United coming back. Queen of the South are playing reasonably well. They'll still think they could maybe get into that top 4, but they'd have to go in some run to make that.
I think some have suggested, I can't remember who was on in midweek, Ruffy, suggested, Macca, that St Mirren actually could, in their mind, be out of relegation, not in the playoff, and actually finishing, above Wraith Rovers.
I said that a while back, Peter. I thought they were good enough to get out the playoffs, and people will look to me as if I was stupid, but I just think there was enough players there, enough young talent. It just needed someone to come in and gel that together, and Jack, he's one of the young coaches, new breed of coaches coming through, and sometimes you've just got to find your club, and St Mirren's definitely his club, and he came in there and he knew what it was all about. He's changed it around, and a massive word in football, as we keep saying, momentum, and St Mirren have definitely got that at the moment.
Yeah, don't worry, Mac, if people look at you as if you're stupid.
It's been all my life.
It's a normal kind of look towards you. Robbie, could you give that look to Macca, that Macca thinks he's looking stupid?
I know. I've seen that look before.
Yeah. Well, can I just say to you, the Dykes has been called offside for Queen of the South, so it's still 0-0 there. So it's one of those games, Ruffy, where suddenly there's some reporters we're going to have a word with who just say it's a goal, and then all of a sudden, the goal's chalked off.
Yeah, sometimes you can hang yourself in the back of that.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're all happy because you're cooping up.
You're hanging on his every word. Yeah, that's what you mean. Absolutely. But it's still 0-0 there. But it's all going well for St Mirren, because they're in the lead. Kyle McGuinness has scored the goal there. Goncalves, the hero for Hearts in the Premiership, and still no goals between Celtic and Kilmarnock, because of course, Mac, everybody now looking and wondering, the title's in the bag. They're going for the treble. The doubleheader against Rangers on the way, but as well as that, can they go through the entire season undefeated?
Do you know what a feat that would be? The only one I can remember doing it was Arsenal. And they're still lauded at the moment for doing that. I think it would be, when you're winning games and you're so far ahead of everyone else, you've got to have something. I know this. The 2 games against Rangers will take care of themselves, Peter. You don't need to work the players up for they too. From both sides, not just from Celtic. So that will take care of itself. This week, let's see if we can go to the end of the season without getting beat. I think that's a massive thing now, because it's something that they can keep going to the end of the season, and and give them something to fight for. Sometimes you can switch off because you've won the league.
Yep. Clyde won, Annan Athletic won. Aidan Smith has got the equaliser in that match. Berwick 0, Stirling 1. Darren Smith has scored, so it's a day for the Smiths. Darren, former Motherwell player, getting the goal there in that match. So as the goals fly in, we're keeping you up to date with it. Massimo Donati is the hero for Hamilton Accies in their game. They're a goal up on Ross County. And Motherwell have it all to do. They're a goal behind to Partick Thistle. Suddenly that bottom end of the table, Ruffy, could have a dramatic twist at the end of the games today.
Yeah, we've been saying that for the last 2 or 3 weeks, where there certainly are teams, the likes of Motherwell, the likes of Dundee, the likes of Ross County, and I think the biggest one, as I said at the beginning, if Inverness were to get 3 points, I think that is a crucial game today as far as the bottom of the league's concerned, because if they were to get 3 points and all these other teams don't pick up anything, there's a massive, they're all just congregated together, and the split's going to be tremendous.
Yep, absolutely. Don't forget, later on in the programme, you'll be able to hear from Pedro Caixinha and also Derek McInnes. Livingston 1, Alloa 0, and Scott Pittman has the goal for Livy in that game. They're a goal up on Alloa. Some of the other headlines that caught my attention today, Ruffy, was Mark Warburton. There's a strange obsession with still quoting Mark Warburton and his viewpoint on Rangers. I don't think the majority of fans who follow Rangers care now. There's this. I don't know if it's some kind of PR to convince people that he was a success up here. I've seen it for the last 7, maybe 2 weeks since he departed Rangers.
Yeah, and he's not short of giving his view. He's not going to let it go. He's going to give his opinion. And his opinion is, when he was there, they were second in the league. And he would believe that they were on some kind of route to get back to where they were, and that's what he believes. And you can't argue with him for where they were then and where they are now. That the win ratio since he's left has been poor as well, but more evident is the league position. And so you have to say he must have been doing something.
I don't know. I don't think. We were talking about it, Pierre, and I said they would finish fourth. I thought they'd finish fourth at the beginning because I thought they'd be fighting for second, but I just didn't think, coming up from where they were, I think that'd be just consider staying in the Premiership and staying at top half and fighting for second. I didn't think they would just make that, and I think Aberdeen's proven that they've just gone away. I thought Hearts would have been beating Rangers until they got the laptop in for manager. So it was one of them. I think it's a strange one. Rangers will do well to get third. I think that's the biggest. That's what they've got to go for now.
I think at the end, I think a lot of Rangers fans had just stopped listening to the pictures that he was painting with his words, Ruffy, on the evidence of the team, on the way they were slipping up. Maybe the expectation was too high. But I certainly didn't see a plan B in any of the games that he was talking about. And I always got that feeling, and rightly or wrongly, it's just a personal opinion, Ruffy, I thought he was always trying to work his ticket back down south, and in the end he got his way. Whether he gets compensation or not is irrelevant, but he got his way eventually.
Yeah, well, only him and the rest of his coaching staff will know that. Whether at one stage they did want out of the club, there seemed to be that particular board meeting when everything was going on. Did I resign? Did they not resign? Did the agent do this? Something must have triggered that whole debate, at that meeting they had. Whether it was he had said, right, it's the window, I think I need to bring in 2 or 3 new players, and they've said, look, you brought in enough players, we're not letting you bring any more. And he said, well, I'm not having that, and then everything's triggered and exploded after that. And then obviously Notts Forest comes to a head. So, I think the people at Rangers will think they've made the right move, but they'll only be justified if the new coach that's come in takes them back to anywhere near where they were.
Yep. Airdrie 1, Brecon 0. Ian Russell scoring the goal. He's done well this season, Ruffy.
Yeah, again, he's a very experienced striker. He scored at most of the clubs he's been at and scored well. So, yep, Airdrie went off the boil there for a wee while. I think at the beginning of the season they were sitting maybe second or third in that league, and then had a terrible run. But that's to get one up against Brecon, who are still, trying to get up there. That's a good result so far.
I think it's coming up on the board, Peter, that Motherwell are beating Partick So we need to get that changed. So somebody's going to be going down to the bookies and cashing in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just a slight change there, just to keep you up to date with the scoreboard there. It's Partick Thistle leading Motherwell by 1-0. Chris Doolan scored the goal. Well spotted, Mark.
Yes.
And Ian Russell's 17th goal of the season. Well done to him. We had him as a guest on the programme. And interestingly enough, talking of Partick Thistle, on Monday we'll have Alan Archibald as our boot-room guest, Ruffy, just to keep you happy.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'll be really happy if he wins this game today. You know, that would be a fantastic thing for Partick Thistle with the budget that they've got and what Alan's had to work with every year. He's lost maybe 2 or 3 players, and he's brought other players in who have been of equal ability. And I agree with you. Partick Thistle people won't like us talking about it, but he's certainly, if Robbie Nielsen could be identified to go down to an English club as a manager, I think Alan Archibald, with the way he's handled himself over the last 3 or 4 years, not that I want him to leave Partick Thistle, but I think he justifiably should
deserves a
get a chance.
Like a club, yeah. He's done brilliant since he came in.
Yeah.
He's went about his business quietly and just he's done magnificent. And you don't hear people shouting about him, Peter, and I think that's, you know.
Yeah, I think the key for Alan Archibald is picking the right club that's got a stable board, maybe got a bit of money, a budget to spend, and then he can actually enhance his CV. Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 0. And it's Stuart Armstrong who just keeps on going, Ruffy. I mean, he's won the Player of the Month. He's had his Scotland debut, the best ever that Gordon Strachan has witnessed. And suddenly he pops up again and scores a goal. And I think all the Celtic fans are so delighted, and hopefully for them, the chief executive comes out and says he's on a new deal.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, that there are so many players, as Mac will back me up, come from other teams like Dundee United, like Aberdeen. They're the main player, the big player. They get the move to Celtic and they come down and they struggle. They struggle to handle demands, they struggle to handle the level of performance you've got to turn in, not just twice a month. No, you've got to turn it on in every week. And he initially, him and Mackay-Stephen, came from Dundee United as the 2 best players, and the both of them you have to admit that they struggled. They struggled to adapt, but for some reason,
I think you've got to put in a perspective. Armstrong was getting played out of position. I think he was getting played, and they gave Mackay-Stephen that. They gave him, to be fair, Celtic gave him a massive chance. He was playing week in, week out, and didn't do it. You know, but as Armstrong, everyone knows his best position's in the middle, and he was playing, and he'd done it, Peter, but it wasn't. You know, I think when you buy a player, you've got to play him in his position, don't you?
Yeah, you would think so. But
When
you're coming to Celtic, there's that many players going.
I understand that, but
and you have to convince. First of all, the manager, then you have to convince the fans, and you'll know how hard that is when you come to another club. You've got to hit the ground running. There's no like, oh, give me 2 or 3 months.
I understand what you're saying, but you wouldn't go to a club if you were going to get played out of position. You'd say, whoa, hold on a minute, play me in the middle, or you know, I don't mind playing out there for the sake of the team.
But initially, you'd be grateful just to get a game and take. All right, I'm out of position. I'll do my best for you, but as time passes, you know, I'd want to play in the position I want to do it, and that's what's happened.
West Brom 0, Southampton 1. Jordi Classy with the goal there. We can messages this afternoon if you would like. You can interact with us. We always like to chat to people on Facebook and Twitter as well. Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy and at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter. Too, you can post your messages, give us your thoughts on anything that's annoying you, or indeed if you want to praise someone, by all means we'll read it out, get the thoughts of Macca and Ruffy too. So goals in short supply in the Premiership. I can't tell you elsewhere. We've got a nice little message here. Next Saturday is the 50th anniversary of something to do with Scotland. Ruffy.
The 50th anniversary
Yeah.
of something to do with Scotland.
Something to do with Scotland. 50 years.
Will that be 1967?
Yep.
Scotland versus England.
Brilliant. Well done to you, Ruffy.
I'm not being picky. I'm not being picky about this. And we all rave about that game, and it was great that the team went down and beat England 3-2.
Beat the world champions.
Yeah. And we're talking about now getting a strip to wear in the Scotland-England game. Now, a lot of people saying we shouldn't be wearing the pink strip. We should be wearing a traditional strip. And somebody was saying, well, to commemorate that fantastic win of going down to Wembley and winning 3-2, we should have a new strip.
Yeah.
I've won at Wembley twice.
Yeah. Yeah, what's your point?
Well, what's the difference with them winning and us winning twice?
Yeah. Listen, I think the significance of England winning the World Cup and then the 50th,
I think it's a big difference.
Remember, we don't have I've seen people out with commemorative strips for 1978, which was viewed as a debacle.
I remember, I couldn't remember, I couldn't have told you what the score was, but what I could tell you about the game was Baxter's keeping the ball up.
Yeah,
That's what I remember.
Absolutely. It was 3-2, Macca.
I know.
I would say that it is my favourite strip.
What?
I would rather we played in that
You
strip
can't wear pink.
than the pink strip.
I think if they were looking for the commemorative strip, it should be the 67 one that we should wear just for a little bit of sentimentality. That's what it is. That's what happens when you're an Aries. You get sentimental about things. Let's go to Capello. Kevin Harper, what's been happening there?
Morton 0 here, Peter at Capello. Morton 0, Hibs 0. First 15 minutes was just a battle like the two managers had a few weeks ago. Peter at centre midfield, but then in the 17th minute, John McGinn should probably have scored. David Gray crosses from the right. Graham headers it back. John McGinn, 6 yards out, actually misses the ball where he should have easily scored. Just after that, as Hibs have sort of dominated the game, they had a penalty shout there. It was a long diagonal from McGinn onto Boyle, about 12 yards on the edge of the box on the right hand side. He volleys it, it hits Russell's hand clearly. Referee waves it away. Here it's Morton 0, Hibs 0.
Okay, so a penalty shout denied. Wonder what's happening at Paisley, because there was a happy start to the game for them. They got the opening goal. Do they look as if they're going to add to that, Des McKeown at St Mirren against Dumbarton?
No, it's settled down now, Peter, but just shortly after the goal, Cammy Smith released, or should have released, Stevie Mallon. It was a 2v1 situation just on the halfway line, just as one of the Dumbarton players fires over. But Cammy Smith, Stevie Mallon broke 2-on-1 on the central defender, but Cammy Smith overcooked the pass. Stevie Mallon couldn't get it under control. That was the best chance since the goal for St Mirren. Dumbarton, on the other hand, almost a freak goal, ball driven across the face of the goals by Robert Thompson, deflected off of Gary Irvine and bounced over his own crossbar, so almost an own goal. But as it is, still 1-0 to St Mirren. The game's now settled down, and both sides trying to impose themselves on the other.
Okay, thanks to Des. In the Premiership in Scotland, it's Massimo Donati, the hero. Accies are leading Ross County by a goal to 0. It's Stuart Armstrong, the hero for Celtic, as they lead Kilmarnock by a goal to 0. Isma Goncalves is the main man for Hearts. They lead Dundee by a goal to 0. Nothing there at the Tulloch Stadium between Inverness, Cally, Thistle and St Johnstone. Chris Doolan, well, he always seems to be the hero for Thistle. They're 1-up on Motherwell. And in the Championship, we're still waiting for that first goal at Capello between Morton and Hibernian. But elsewhere, St Mirren leading by a goal to 0. Kyle McGuinness, as Des mentioned, 2 is there. So, lots of goals. Thanks to Billy Hunter for sending us that message on Facebook about Scotland. 50 years, the anniversary of 3-2 to Scotland against England. And it is one of those classic strips with the dark blue and the round white neck as well, and the big badge on the left-hand side, which, you know, some people really like a big badge. We had a big badge on the shirt here. We get absolute pelters for it, Macca.
Yes, quite right. It really was. It looked great until you see it on TV and you think, whoa.
Well, yeah.
It was a bit overpowering.
It's a bit over the top. It's just one of those mistakes you make, Ruffy. You think, you know, people will respond to it, but this one's just a better size for us now in a team picture.
It was, the big badge was a bit unfortunate because when Joe Miller was in, it just took over his whole body. You know, Joe just being a wee guy.
Joe, was
just. No, I quite like this badge. I think
I've never
asked it. Why has yours got Maestro?
Well, we have a
we
mix.
just have a
We have
He's a
we
maestro.
just have a
He's a maestro. He thinks he's Paul McStay.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I'd have his talent, Macca, to be perfectly honest with you.
You ran a show, Peter. That's what it is. He ran a show.
He was absolutely.
He ran a show in the football park. You ran a show. It's a maestro. That's all.
We have different ones, Ruffy, just to keep everybody happy. We don't want everybody to wear the same thing. We need a wee bit of individuality on it. El Mohammadi is not the maestro. He scored an own goal against, for Manchester City, so they lead by a goal to nil. Hull's midfielder El Mohammadi has scored an own goal in that match, so Pep Guardiola's team lead by a goal to nil. And it's Queen's Park 1, Peterhead 0. Gus McPherson's team will be happy with that. As the goals fly in across the country, we're keeping you up to date with the Premiership, Championship, League 1 and League 2 as well. It's hard to believe the season almost coming to an end, Ruffy. It's getting to the awards ceremony soon. We'll be having your usual night out at the PFA Player of the Year Awards. I just wonder if there are shoe-ins for you as far as who should win Player of the Year.
Is this the Players' Player of the Year?
Yes.
I think it will be dominated, the SPFL one will be dominated with Celtic players. I'll take a stab at Dembele, Scott Sinclair, Armstrong and Tierney. I'm looking at the other side. I can't see anybody for Kilmarnock forcing into that. I can't see anybody from Hamilton, Ross County, Dundee, Hearts, Inverness, St Johnstone, Partick or Motherwell.
Yeah.
Or Rangers.
Or Rangers.
Yeah.
And what about Aberdeen? Anybody getting a mention from Aberdeen?
Not from the four that I mentioned. Rooney has had a good season, but not as good as last year.
No.
Shinnie has
been good.
An average season. McLean's been good. Apart from that, are you pushing me on anybody else? No. I'm just looking at candidates. It would be nice to see somebody like Chris Doolan getting a mention.
Yeah.
For where they are. But knowing, as I tell you every year, when the voting slips come in, there's a lot of jiggery-pokery goes on. Not bad jiggery-pokery.
What do you mean?
Well, pals vote for their pal and think me votes. Did you like him?
Did you have pals?
I left Scott Brown out of that.
Yeah. Should he get a mention?
I think he'll be there or thereabouts.
Okay, well, I'll come back to you on that just in a minute, because I'm going to actually concentrate on the Championship, because I think there might have been a wee bit of activity down in Greenock at Capello Park. Is there a goal there, Kevin Harper?
Goal here. It's Morton 0, Hibs 1, and it's a great finish from who else but Jason Cummins. A long ball goes up. He beats Ware on a foot race, and he goes into the edge of the box on the left-hand side, Peter, and just slides it across middle of the goal into the sort of middle, the right-hand corner, to make it Morton 0, Hibernian 1, and no more than what the Hibs have deserved in this first half.
Okay, excellent stuff from Kevin. Cummings is the man.
Yeah, he was the man the last time as well, and that's what happens when you've got a striker who can step up in the big games and get you a win. And it'll be interesting with him now. That he was on a wee lull there. I think we all know about him being not contacted about a move, and he looked as if he wanted a move, and he was in and out, and Neil left him out a couple of times. Alan Stubbs left him out as well. It'd be interesting to see if any clubs come back in sniffing around about him, whether they can hold on to him or not.
Yeah, many goals do you think he scored this season, Ruffy?
Jason Cummins, I would say...
Double figures?
Yeah. I would say 18.
18. Macca?
14.
21 goals.
There you go.
Which is a good return.
And he's been in and out of the team as well, that's a great return.
Yeah, another thing about it as well is there's a small matter of a Scottish Cup semi-final coming up, so players will want to be hitting for him at the right time, and can they overcome Aberdeen? That's the big question.
Yeah, well, I think we all know if Hibs do get a penalty, he won't be trying to chip the goal out. If he gets a chance.
Yeah. Well remembered, Ruffy. It was one of those gallus moments. It didn't quite work out. It looks great, Macca, when you've got the audacity and the skill to just dink the goalkeeper.
It's great when it works.
Oh, magnificent, isn't it?
When it doesn't work, you look like a complete and utter fool.
Yeah.
And quite rightly, your teammates would give you stick, which is part and parcel. And it's a brave man to do that. You just... I'm a great believer. You have a penalty, you got them. You know, he
Thunder
just,
it.
Yeah.
Seems to be straight down the middle. Straight down the middle seems to be.
Ray Stewart, Julian at West Ham, and you know, and Andy Walker used to score great goals from penalty spot.
Well, I watched Andy Walker actually dink Gordon Marshall in an Ayrshire derby.
That was a bet. That was at Airport. It wasn't Celtic. You couldn't do that at Celtic.
No, I said that against Gordon Marshall in an Ayrshire derby, which didn't involve Celtic. Let's go to Paisley to see what Des McKeown has to say.
Well, Des McKeown has to say that Dumbarton are now level in the game, Peter. It was a drilled free kick from Gregor Buchanan deep into the opposition area. The ball was knocked down. Lewis Vaughan coming in off the right hand side absolutely smashed a shot into the bottom corner. It's now St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1.
And yeah, Ruffy, game on. I had a feeling that one was going to be a closely fought battle.
Well, it's one of these games, if you're a St Mirren supporter, you want to get the second goal, which puts you comfortable. But Dumbarton have been getting goals, you know, they've been picking up points here and there, and that'll give them a bit of confidence for the rest of this game. So St Mirren really need to get that second goal.
Yep, it's all square there in that match. Penalties, Ruffy. Love to see somebody with a bit of a gallus attitude to it. But as Macca said there, you know, some people like to thunder it. Bobby Charlton, bang. You know, if you can save it, fine, you deserve a bit of praise. Tommy Gemmell, you know, thunderous. Yes. Vitor Panenka, chip. Andrea Pirlo, chip. Cool as ice.
Andy Walker.
Andy Walker's in that bracket, he gets there. I think actually, I'll tell you another one who did it, I think it was a semi-final of the World Cup, Zinedine Zidane, who chipped it and it actually hit the underside of the bar and went in, but he still walked away cool as ice.
I understand what you're saying, but there's a big difference trying it with Ayr against someone than Celtic against Rangers. I like to see somebody's bottle doing that.
Yeah. Well,
that's when it takes a lot of.
Well, can I just say something to you, Macca? The reason why Vitor Panenka is the most famous of them all is Vitor Panenka had the penalty that would win the European Championships for Czechoslovakia. They were playing against Germany, and he chipped it to win it against Sepp Maier, one of the world's greatest goalkeepers. Let's go to St Mirren because there's drama there, Des.
Indeed, Peter, 39 minutes gone, and referee Stephen Kirtland has awarded a penalty to St Mirren. He is remonstrating with the Dumbarton players are remonstrating with the referee at the moment. Rory Loy has placed the ball. I think Stevie Mallon has now taken it off him. So we're just waiting on the penalty kick being taken, but it's definitely a penalty to St Mirren. Lewis Vaughan has just been booked. It was Stephen McGinn who got the ball into his feet in the box, just about on the penalty spot. He was turning, he was twisting, he eventually got dragged down by Lewis Vaughan, and as a result, St Mirren now have a penalty only 2 minutes after losing an equaliser through Lewis Vaughan. Rory Loy is definitely going to take this spot kick. He's just placing the ball down in front of us here, down to the Glasgow Airport end of the pitch. He's been asked to replace the ball back on the spot. Actually, Daniel Harvey has now been booked from Dumbarton because he's encroached into the box to try and unsettle Rory Loy as Rory Loy was placing the ball on the spot. The referee is now taking his step back. He's going to allow Rory Loy to take the spot kick as soon as he's finished his paperwork regarding and the DJ is going mental at the same time, I have to tell you. But we've now got Rory Loy just about to take the spot. Right footed, saved by Alan Martin. Terrific save, low down to his right hand side. It's still one apiece here at the Paisley 2021 Stadium, and the DJ has clearly not got the message. He's not playing any music, and that's because it's one apiece. 40 minutes gone.
Oh, drama there, and that was brilliantly described. And I don't like players actually going in to put off the player, and it's put off Rory Loy.
And I have to say, is the wee girl behind Des there never even looked up from her colour and in book as that penalty was getting taken. I don't know if you saw the Sky had there's a massive goal. St Johnstone.
Yeah. Inverness nil, St Johnstone 1. If at any time, Ruffy, when you see that goal, could you actually just tell everyone that's the nature of the game?
No, but what I was going to say was if you saw the Sky Sports about penalties, about the penalty spots actually moving.
Oh, yeah.
Did you not see that?
No.
There was 3 or 4 penalties that the penalty kick's coming in and his foot is on in the whole turf.
Well, that's what happened to Beckham.
Yeah. There was 2 or 3 of them last week, so.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I seen we were at the Scotland game and that pitch was moving about. I mean, God, you see, just not in the penalty spot, but you see when they were going to make a pass, it was the grass was digging up. I thought for the National Stadium, Peter, I don't, you know, it's a big break for me.
Yeah. Well, Gus McPherson, you know, was on this programme and he said, I don't think the national team will be too happy at the state of Hampden Park.
Yeah.
I wonder, Ruffy, as we get ever closer to the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup, whether there'll be a lot made of the state of the pitch as well. Can I tell you, Norwich are 5-1 up on Reading? I mean, that is incredible in the first half of a game.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, I think it was Norwich were on the end of something like that 2 or 3 weeks ago. But certainly, no, if you're a player and your team's at half-time talk is always a good one. That is another blow for Liverpool, down 1-0 to Stoke.
Yeah, Jonathan Walters has scored the goal for Mark Hughes' side in that match against Liverpool. So it's not all going according to plan in the Premier League for Jurgen Klopp's side today. Can they fight back in that match? That's what it's all about on a Saturday afternoon on STV, keeping you up to date with the goals as they hit the back of the net. And Macca, you look as if you're a happy man at the moment, Macca.
You know what? West Ham are winning 1-0, but they're in big trouble, Peter. They've got to win games because they're getting drawn in and they're getting dragged down to the bottom. You know, they're only a couple of points away from that, the relegation battle, and they've got some big games coming up, so they've got to win. They had to get a result today. It's still early, but it's a great start.
Is Bilic under pressure?
I think so, yeah.
Scored the goal. Is Bilic under pressure?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, the both chairmen have given the saying he's okay, but the fans are getting a wee bit irate with him.
Yeah.
Some of the things. I mean, there's a big thing that all week I've been talking to people down there all week, Peter. Sacco is a centre forward, great centre forward at West Ham. He's got a bad injury, he's coming back from injury. He's training every day. He's telling the manager he's fit. He's telling everyone who wants to listen that he's fit. The medical team are saying, no, he's not ready yet. Now, surely you know as a player, and me as a manager, I'd say, hold on a minute, my players tell me he's ready. These boys are telling me he's not because they're looking at some things, and he's training every day, Peter.
Yeah.
And they've not got the luxury of leaving. If it's a player like that, you've got to bring him in.
So you think that the people who are clued up medically don't know as much as the player should?
I think the player knows more about the body than what the medical staff. I mean, medical staff weren't going to tell me if I was fit or not. You know, it wouldn't happen. I mean, but nowadays when we get knocked, the medical staff, if they were, when I played, nobody would be playing her.
Yeah, how many players, Macca, have turned around and said, you know, I'm fit, I'm ready, and they've rushed back with something?
Yeah, but if you're training every day, you're training every day and training with the I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'd have been one of them to say I'm fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm not.
I'm thinking about you, yeah.
But when you're training every day, and you're going into games, you're training every day, and yet the medical staff are saying no.
Well, here's the good news. Koyate is fit. He scored the goal.
So good player.
It's 1-0 for West Ham against Swansea. In the Scottish Premiership, I think that goal for St Johnstone, you know, really puts in perspective how big a problem I think it is for Richie Foran and Inverness. And the Inverness board will look at Richie Foran's record. It's not good, Ruffy, and there's no way you can change. You know, they can't make any other changes. They've got to stick with Richie, let him get on with it. Whether they stick with him in the, you know, if he goes down to the Championship is another matter. But nevertheless, when you consider they had a man who guided them to Scottish Cup glory and a great position in the division. Now John Hughes is gone, and the club's just at this moment obviously in free fall.
Yeah, but it's been like that since the start of the season. It's been like that since they had 4 or 5 players out right at the start of the season. Big players injured. Some players moved on. Nobody scoring goals. They bring back Billy Mackay. Yeah, and all fairness, he's put in a wee shift and he's scored some goals, but they haven't been impressive at all right for the start of the season.
Yeah, it's half-time in the Championship in Paisley. Des McKeown.
Half-time at the Paisley 2021 Stadium. It's St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1. It was St Mirren who opened the scoring after 10 minutes when Cammy Smith worked his way across the pitch, fed Kyle McGuinness on the right-hand side of the pitch. He tucked in onto his left foot and drilled a low shot beyond Alan Martin in the Dumbarton goal. Dumbarton were level, however, after 36 minutes. A drilled free kick from Gregor Buchanan deep into the opposing half, into the penalty box, was knocked down to Lewis Vaughan, coming in off the right hand side. First time hit, low bottom corner, one apiece. 5 minutes before the break, however, Rory Loy had the opportunity to give Jack Ross's side a half time lead from the penalty spot. Alan Martin dived full length, low to his right to save Loy's spot kick. It's still one apiece. We've just had the half time whistle. Half time in Paisley, it's St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1.
Thanks to Des for that in the Premiership in Scotland, as we cast our eye over the critical games at the bottom end of the table. It's a happy Hamilton, still in injury time at the moment, leading by a goal to nil. Massimo Donati. Elsewhere, Isma Goncalves is the hero for Hearts as they lead by a goal to nil. OK, let's go to Capello and get the half-time report from Kevin Harper.
Here at Capello, Peter, it's Morton 0, Hibs 1, and it's that Jason Cummings goal that puts Hibs in the ascendancy here and on their way to 3 points at the end of the game. You know, they've dominated the second half of the first half, Peter. The first part of the first half, it was really just a battle like the two managers, but then Hibs started to get the ball down and play, and John McGinn should have scored after 24 minutes. It was Gray, a long ball to Graham, and he knocked it across goal when John McGinn missed from 6 yards out. But then the man of the moment, Jason Cummings, scores his 21st goal of the season. It's a long ball up. He beats O'Ware. O'Ware should have done better, and he finishes it in the bottom, in the corner of the goal to make it Hibs 1, Morton 0. Here at Capello, it's Morton 0, Hibs 1.
OK, thanks to Kevin there, just for emphasising the fact that it is Hibs who are leading by that goal from Jason Cummings. I can tell you, Hamilton are up against it. They've got a red card, Ruffy. Skondras is sent off for a foul on Ryan Dow.
Yeah, obviously gives Ross County a wee bit of incentive, you know, to come out in the second half and capitalise on that. I mean, Hamilton have seen how much they dominated during the week when they were up against 10 men. So it's a difficult one for them, but it depends if they can hang on.
Yep, Celtic leading by a goal to nil. Hamilton holding on with 10 men. Hearts are ahead against Dundee. St Johnstone at the Tulloch Stadium leading by a goal to nil. And in that other match, Chris Doolan is the hero in the first half for Partick Thistle. They lead Motherwell by a goal to nil. We'll have all the half times next. And Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff and Frank McAvenny are with me here throughout the afternoon till 6 o'clock. Delighted to have your company. Half-time scores across the country in the Premiership, first of all, in Scotland. Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 0. Hamilton 1, Ross County 0. Hearts 1, Dundee 0. Inverness Cally Thistle 0. St Johnstone 1. And Partick Thistle 1, Motherwell 0. In the Championship in Scotland, Ayr United 0, Queen of the South 0. Dundee United 0, Falkirk 0. Dunfermline 0, Raith Rovers 0. Morton 0, Hibernian 1. St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1. In League 1, Airdrieonians 2, Brecon City 1. Albion Rovers 1, Stranraer 0. Livingston 1, Alloa 0. Queen's Park 1, Peterhead 0. Stenhousemuir 1, East Fife 0. League 2, Berwick Rangers 0, Stirling Albion 1. Clyde 1, Annan Athletic 1. Edinburgh City 1, Cowdenbeath 0. Elgin City 1, Montrose 0. Forfar 0, Arbroath 0. In the Premier League in England, Tottenham Hotspur 4, Watford 0. Manchester City 1, Hull City 0. Middlesbrough 0, Burnley 0. Stoke City 1, Liverpool 0. West Brom 0, Southampton 1. West Ham 1, Swansea 0. And Bournemouth against Chelsea is the 5:30 kickoff. Stuart Armstrong has had a great month of March. He's continued that into April. He scored the goal in the first half against Kilmarnock that proves to be the difference between the two sides so far, Ruffy.
Yes, but you would like to think the Celtic have made all the chances there. Kilmarnock will try and just hold out. If it stays at 1-0, they might think they might get one or two chances late on in the game, but you would think if Celtic were to get the second goal in the second half, then it'd be done and dusted. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they should keep Dembele on the bench, keep him for the Rangers game, and I think that's the main objective of today's game.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem that Hamilton Accies have is they've got a goal from Massimo Donati, Macca, but I think Jonas Skondras for one of those dangerous lunges on Ryan Dow that was an automatic red card has now really put Martin Canning's side under a bit of pressure. They're down to 10 men for the whole of the second half.
Well, yeah, you don't like seeing anyone get sent off, but I mean it was for a lunge, Peter, and you just can't do that now. For what I hear, the referee was just going to book him and couldn't spell his name, so just gave him a straight red.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. There's a moment when I really always have to listen to you intently, and that was one of those moments.
No, the boy lunged, Peter. You can't lunge. Yeah. It's not in today's game now, and and there's no qualms about that. If you lift your feet off the ground, you're going off. Simple as that.
Yep. Inverness have battled away, and maybe a lot of people watching the game don't feel as if they deserve to be behind. But Ruffy, just briefly, it's Stephen McLean who popped up for St Johnstone with the goal.
Yeah, I think we all know how good St Johnstone are away from home. Don't score a lot of goals away from home, but they're generally defensively they're very, very good. So Inverness have got it all to do. Okay,
coming up in the next part of the programme, we are going to get Macca and Ruffy to give us their tips for the Grand National at Aintree later on this evening. I'll give you my tip, and you might take it on board, you might not. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, 3 World Cups, 53 international caps, and myself, Peter Martin, who's Frank McAvenny's secretary. I'm here to make sure I handle all of his administration needs. Macca, delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
And I think the big question that you and I have been talking about in the break is whether the penalty kick at St Mirren was a blast, was it something that was placed, or was it a little dink? Des McKeown has the answer for us. Des.
Well, Peter, it wasn't any of the above. It was actually drilled low to the goalkeeper's right, and I have to give Alan Martin huge credit. He got down and turned the ball around the side of the post. So from that perspective, that was the point in the first half that retained the draw, and we've just kicked off as Stelios Dimitriou has just been wiped out by a challenge from Darren Barr, something that Darren Barr's done a number of times over his career. So we're back underway at Paisley 2021 Stadium. It's St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1.
Yep, okay, and if there's drama there, we'll be all over it. Of course, it has huge implications. I don't think, I'm looking at the run of games that not only Raith Rovers, Ayr United, Dumbarton and St Mirren coming up. There's some very, very tricky games, Ruffy. I think St Mirren will want to get the win today. That could be the difference, because I think points are going to be in short supply over the next few weeks. You know, you get the likes of Dundee United, Hibernian on the horizon.
But it's certainly psychological when you've been down at the bottom for so long and just get that win that takes you above everybody else. You know, it just means that even when you look at the leaderboard, you're no longer at the bottom, and everybody picks up for that. But they have to win the game. You know, they can't. This is a game I'm sure the manager and the players would look at as 3 points. It's a must 3 points. Obviously, luckily, that goal was disallowed from Queen of the South, but they need to start winning games at home.
Morton, Falkirk, Dundee United, Raith Rovers and Hibernian. That's the remaining games after for St Mirren. Not easy games, Macca.
I don't think any easy games. That they've found it hard all season, but I think the confidence and the belief that Jack has installed into the players, because it's, you know, as we keep talking about, somebody coming in, new ideas, fresh ideas, and make the players play better than what they are, what they have been, because there's no doubt that St Mirren were not playing to the capabilities. Jack's come in, put an arm around some of them, gave some of them a kick up the backside and says, look, come on boys, we've got to do this together. There's only, if we go down, it's nobody's fault but yours. And that's what they've done. So, you know, you've got to give them a lot of credit, but they've still got to keep going, I think. You know.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking at some of the games, Mac, and I'm just thinking to myself, especially when you think of the run-in that St Mirren have got, you could get to a situation where St Mirren play Raith in the second last game of the season, and then Ayr play Raith. So right in the last 2 games of the season could be
significant. Ayr have just scored against Queen of the South, so that gives the incentive for 3 points. And obviously St Mirren, we're talking about St Mirren catching up. If Ayr were to hold on to that 3 points, that would be really dramatic in that league.
Yeah, that suddenly puts a real twist on it, Macca. You know, that goal there, St Mirren do have a game in hand over Ayr at the moment. There's only a point between them. But, you know, we've all been talking about this continued, revival for St Mirren. And Gary Harkins was our guest in midweek talking about the fact that, you know, the players have come in, they've had disappointing results, but they're still up for the battle. He still thinks that people are maybe taking their eye off the fact that Ayr could win a run of games.
Well, as you say, we keep talking about, ex-players talking about it, you're better with the points than games in hand, because they don't mean nothing. And if Ayr win today and St Mirren don't, it could be a big significance, you know. And I seen Gary on the show, and he was talking well, you know, and you slaughtered him at the end. I liked that wee bit, you know.
Yeah,
it's a bad day at Somerset.
It's been wiped out. It's been wiped out.
You're not allowed to score a weekend.
2 goals in every season. Nah, we're not getting that one either. We're not getting that one either.
Make it up by you know, there's nothing worse, is there?
So
that's 2 goals being chopped off in that match.
He's just been dragged back in.
I was just going to say to you, Ian McCall must be, he'll be pulling his hair out as well, Ruffy. He'll be throwing some of the university books and the big Tolstoy book that he's got as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're throwing that all over the
What
place.
pop-up books he's got.
Yes, I mean, particularly where you are in the league, you know, you just want to grab anything, and to get a goal, I mean, we don't know why it's been chalked off, but certainly I hope they've made the right decision, or the right two decisions this month.
Yeah,
I know, you hope it come at this end of the season, Peter, this time of the season, you hope it's not referees' mistakes that's costing points, because that would be, you know, that's you know, you don't mind getting beat, but if it's a mistake by the referee, then it's even bitter. It's a lot better than.
Yeah, Man City are 2-0 up now. Sergio Aguero scores the goal for City. They promise much, but Pep Guardiola has mentioned the fact that he's gone through a learning curve this season.
Well, I think so. I think he's forgetting about the league. But you know, I thought that was a tricky one today, because Hull's been playing really well. They've been playing really well. They've been getting points. I'm delighted because they're close with West Ham, but they've been going on a run, and it doesn't matter about momentum. Even Robertson scored his first goal, I think, for down there.
Yeah,
left back scored a great goal against West Ham
for Hull City.
Yeah, he scored a great goal. But go to Man City, they've got so much quality and depth, and it's just, you know, some players you've never even heard of, and they come in, and you think, wow, where's this boy been? Yeah. And they're just different class people to watch.
Former Motherwell and Partick Thistle player Callum Higginbotham has scored for Dunfermline against Wraith, Ruffy.
Yeah, we saw him scoring some spectacular goals, particularly Partick Thistle down at Motherwell. He nearly took on the whole team and scored, so he's got the quality. He's drifted out of it for a wee while, but that I can imagine if he scored that, it would be something special.
Just needs some money to score again, and we've got to treble up. There you go.
Yeah, unfortunately, that penalty miss is just beginning to bring us down.
Yes. Can I ask you something, Ruffy? What is our treble today?
The treble today is Partick Thistle, Dunfermline, who both are winning 1-0 just now, and St Mirren, who are 1 each.
Who you picked?
And Dundee United have just went 1-0 up against Falkirk.
Which is a huge goal, because, of course, Ray McKinnon has a lot of pressure on him as well. He has mentioned this week that it's really all about, you know, the old cliche, one game at a time for them, and make sure that they're in a good position for the playoffs. And it's whether you're playing extra games or not that I think is the battle at the moment. And that could be a good win for Dundee United if they can hold on the basis of what's happening between Morton and Hibs, Ruffy.
Yeah, and it just puts Falkirk in check as well if it can stay 1-0 in that game. You know, you're right. You know, these games seem to be important at the end of the season. We're even talking about Celtic giving their players a rest for the run-in. So I think everybody else is the same. You know, they would want to try and give as many players a rest as possible.
Simon Murray scoring that goal for Dundee United, and he's been a young man that you know, he went out on loan to Arbroath and then has come back to Dundee United, and you know, he's scored goals for them this season. He's had a good season. I think he'll be happy with his return. But whether it's enough to get them into the Premiership is another matter. We'll be going to Capello very shortly to get an update on Morton against Hibs. And the other thing I was just about to mention to you guys was, of course, another goal which caught my eye, which has completely escaped me now. I'll come back to
Dunfermline Wraith Rovers.
Dunfermline Wraith Rovers. Wraith Rovers, this is a slide that is incredible, Ruffy, because you know, by the way, the end of the day and the championship at the bottom end, Wraith Rovers could be second bottom, or you know, certainly not too far away from the bottom.
Yeah, well, they made a big decision in letting Gary Locke go, obviously off a bad run of events, and obviously identified Yogi as the player, with the manager with the experience to go in there and turn it around. But unfortunately, as it stands just now, it hasn't turned it around. So I mean, obviously, they'll be hoping in the games that are coming up that they can get 3 points, but that's a bad one as it stands just now.
Sometimes you bring a new manager in, and it doesn't matter who it is, Peter. It's the players' fault. You know, you look at, I mean, what happened with Leicester, it's just, it shows to me that the players have got so much to do with it. The manager gets to blame everything. And they got the manager sacked, and now they've not lost a game.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous that when you go out, it doesn't matter if you like manager or not, you give everything on that park. So they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yep, Livingston 2, Alloa 0. Jackson Longridge with the goal. To Capello in the Championship. I'll be back with you in a moment, Ruffy. I'm going to hang on for your words, though, because we value them. Let's go. Yeah, absolutely, Micah. Let's go to Capello and Kevin Harper.
Here, Peter, it's still Morton 0, Hibs 1, but Morton have came out that second half in the ascendancy, but without causing any trouble to the Hibs goal. Still here, Capello, Morton 0, Hibs 1.
Okay, short and sharp there from Kevin on that one. Still waiting for a chance of any great note, but it's still Jason Cummings with the goal. The difference between them. Ruffy, what were you going to say to us?
Too late, it's gone now. No, it hasn't. Am I right in saying if Livingston win today, they're the first Championship winners of the season?
Well, there's a good shout on it, Ruffy. Let's just look and see how that division is looking.
You just googled it. What about Celtic?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but I think Livingston, that division, the lower divisions. We're talking about lower divisions. We're not talking about the big.
Could you clarify that when you say that, Ruffy?
In this division, if Livingston win today, have they won that division?
I would suggest you right now, yes, because they're on 69 and Alloa are on 53. And there's no way they're going to be caught after today. 53 Alloa. So
they're on 69.
They're on 69, so they'll go to 72.
Okay.
And the game's up. It's done and dusted. Yeah. And Livingston have been out in front for most of the season, Ruffy, and well worthy of being champions in that division, because it's a club that's had more than its fair share of turmoil, but suddenly they can start to look towards the Championship.
Yeah, and it seems to be all behind the scenes, the owners coming and going, and a lot of wrangling going on behind the scenes, and but now they've brought in obviously the boy Hopkin, who's stabilised. I think they are sort of semi-full time, so that gives them a head start. They've got a lot of young boys there as well.
What does that mean, semi-full time?
Well, they come in like 2 days full time with sort of what do you call them, young players who are on academy players.
Yes.
They're funded by, I don't know who they're funded by, but they have a sort of a full-time sort of a deal.
Yeah, if you know,
there are some players who are full-time, there are some who are part-time.
So if you're unemployed, you can go full-time?
If you want. There are some players who show that commitment as well. It just depends on your own ambition to get the platform to actually play League One football.
I showed that commitment when I was there. I went to St Mirren, they wouldn't give me a full-time contract. I went full-time. Just off my own back.
Yeah, absolutely. But that really was because you were bored out of your skull walking around Paisley with nothing to do.
I was working.
Yeah.
I was tarring the roads at the time. Tony Fitzpatrick, who's this is why we became so close friends, he used to pick me up in the morning because I couldn't afford. Tony came to pick me up every morning, took me to training until I got a full-time contract.
Yeah, and what was it like? I mean, did you get that? Was the fact that you were tarring roads, did that give you the greater incentive then? Because you kind of stumbled into football, Mackie. You didn't actually.
It was by luck, yeah. It was luck, but
it wasn't luck when you were playing. No, because it was top drawer. You were absolutely top drawer at Celtic.
I didn't want to go back to tarring the roads.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back to tarring. But right now, didn't do it now.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Used to do it a lot when I was working on the roads, but they don't seem to do that now.
Well, remember, Mac, if you don't concentrate on what you're doing in this show, you can be back tarring roads pretty quickly, believe me. Mac alongside Ruffy, both of them, I think you'll agree, have to have a thought in their head that they get out quickly or they're gone. It's as simple as that. In the Premiership, Celtic still leading Ruffy, and again, with Stuart Armstrong, I would suggest to you that this is the side that will consistently... Ian Russell, by the way, has scored another goal for Airdrieonians, and they are 3-1 up on Brecon. I would suggest to you this side that has been selected by Brendan Rodgers today will only change 1 or 2 tops from the team that takes to the field against Rangers, barring, of course, injuries.
Yeah, one of his best players available. He's one of his best players, fit and raring to go, because obviously the big game's coming up. But certainly today, yes. But even at 1-0, Partick Thistle proved you keep digging in there, you'll get a wee chance or two, but you've got to take them. That's the main thing, because as it stands just now, we're all just sitting here waiting and Celtic getting that second goal. But as long as it stays the way it is, then Kilmarnock have still got a chance.
I think we were talking about it earlier. It's hard. You've won the league. It's a party time. Not a lot of players, but the manager will be wanting them to go and get this run. But the big focus is on the semi-final. They've won the league, they've won a cup, they want the treble. It would be nice to go unbeaten for Celtic, but you know it's.
I think it's a
Sometimes
driving
it's
force.
get-
I think it's a
it
driving
should
force.
be, you know,
Macca.
it should be, but-
I don't think they're taking their
No.
foot off the gas. I think they're to the media. I think they're saying, well, it's it's one game at a time, and we're not
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Brendan Rodgers saying they're not really bothered. I think that in the inner
course.
sanctum of that dressing room, they are saying to each other, "This is your chance to etch yourself
Yeah,
in a wee bit
greatness.
of the club's history."
Greatness is definitely, and as you say, I don't think the semi-final. I don't think there'll be many changes. If I was to hazard a guess, Dembele coming back, maybe McGregor dropping to the bench.
Yeah.
I would think because Roberts has been playing. I think he's a better player and he's more
I
dangerous.
have to
than
say one thing
McGregor.
though, McGregor I think
Yeah.
has had a fabulous season, Ruffy. He's the one player that I think a lot of us looked at and thought, maybe is there a future? There might not still be a future for him, but for the lad himself, he changes the pace of Celtic.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers has already been on record to say that he's been a breath of fresh air. He does come on. He might not be a 90-minute player just now, but if you want him and he comes on, he just gives you that
gives
wee
you-
bit
he
of
holds on to the
energy.
ball.
And he runs at people. He commits people into
Yeah.
making tackles.
Yeah.
And he's still a young lad.
Yeah.
The more games he gets, the more European games he gets, the more confidence he'll get. And he's certainly one that I certainly wouldn't have let go.
No, I wouldn't let go, but he's what Brendan's got to do, and he will do, I would think, is he's got to do that step up now when he go into Champions League. He's not there yet. He gives the ball away too easy sometimes, and when you're playing in that level, you can't do that. And Scotland is great. He controls the pace of the game, as you say. He's got a great, and you get away with it because sometimes if a pass goes amiss, they're not getting hurt the way they do in Champions League. So
Mark, how many players do you think Celtic need in the summer? Because there's a real there's real speculation that Brendan Rodgers is going to be given a substantial amount of money to buy some special players.
I think they need a couple of top draw defenders. I think they need. I don't think the defence is good enough to go into Europe. Boyata has came on to a game, but he's not good enough. I don't think he's not good enough to go and up until Celtic scored against Hearts. Hearts were looking, as I say, that boy was looking. He was looking really good up front. He was going by them too easy.
Yeah.
Craig Gordon made a couple of saves, and I'm thinking, that was the defence. So I think a couple of defenders, but the boys have done. You can't take credit where it's due. They've done brilliant, but I think that's where they need to. Midfield, I don't know if they need anyone in midfield. I think this boy who thinks he's Pogba's coming in, they reckon he's going to be a good player. So
yeah. Okay, he certainly didn't look like Pogba in the first few minutes of the game in midweek against Partick Thistle, but Brendan Rodgers had a laugh and a joke about it.
Yeah.
Hamilton Accies won, Ross County won, Craig Curran with a goal, and suddenly that red card could become so significant. And the one thing about Skondras, if I was him, I'd go into a cupboard and just lock the door, Ruffy, because you're letting your teammates down at a critical part of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the players will know how bad the tackle was. We aren't privileged enough to see it, but certainly it's just a reversal. St Johnstone getting 2 players sent off last week, Hamilton hammering them for 45 minutes and getting a goal late on. The same is going to be the same with Ross County. You would think Hamilton will be backs to the wall. They'll even see a point. Will be a reasonable result. once they look at all the other results round about. So that's what their objective will be, to get away from there with a point.
John Nicholson says, what happened to your Grand National tip? Well, here it is, John. Ruffy, who have you gone for?
Well, I have gone for Black Lion, but that was my main choice. But I've been...
Is it Black Lion or Black Lion?
It's BLAKLION.
Right, okay.
But I've been seconded into a syndicate.
yes,
Macca has persuaded me to buy into his bet,
Yeah.
which is Vicente.
yeah. Listen, 58 caps between us. It
Yes.
don't go wrong with that.
So did absolutely, Mark. It's a good line.
I'm in a syndicate with Macca. So that there,
Vicente, yes.
Just out of curiosity, and I'm not a gambler, but what do you mean by you bought into it? You gave.
Well, I
you
phoned
gave-
I phoned him and I left a
He
message.
phoned me up
Right.
to put X amount of pounds on this,
Right.
and I took the telephone call as gospel. So I duly went and put the bet on for him.
Right.
In between times, he also put the bet on himself.
Because he never came back to me to let me know that he was going to put
So
it
he
on.
could bet the horse twice.
So you had to go into his...
No, he says, I'll
be
pay
doing
half
decent
it, so-
thing and no, have you?
Listen,
I mean, £1,000
I-
each way is a lot of money.
I know, it's a lot of money. I didn't have enough money on
I'll
me.
just say something to you. If that was the case, I'd need to bring oxygen in for you. The other thing
It's
is,
decent.
okay, so Vicente, nothing else.
Oh, I've got hundreds.
Well, let's not go through the entire card.
My daughter has got the
I've
same
got
one as
Vicente
you.
each way.
One for Arthur, the
Yeah.
Scottish horse.
Yeah, I've gone for that.
I think it's Lucinda Russell's horse, so
Yeah.
who they quite fancy.
Yeah.
But I always think that the main objective in the National is to get round the first lap. If you get round the first lap and you're not getting caught by any of the poor horses, the jumps are a lot easier to take care of because they've all been smashed to bits and everything.
Oh, I know.
If you're up the front, first four, and you're a quality horse with a quality rider, you've got a chance.
Yeah, okay. I wonder what horse, Des, he might have someone that comes out of left field.
Yeah, go on, Des.
Des, can you give us your bet? As Man City are 3-0 up through Fabian Delph against Hull City. Des, who are you betting on the National?
I'm not betting anybody in the National at the moment because it's all kind of kicking off down in front of us here. The referee, Stephen Kirtland, it's the first time I've seen him in operation as the referee. He's infuriating just about everybody in the ground. Jack Ross and his assistant is, they're honestly, I've never seen Jack Ross as angry with some of the decisions that have been given against these St Mirren players. As simple things as throw-ins and free kicks right in front of him. Jack, very cool character at the best of times, but he's lost the rag a couple of times with assistant near side. Going back to the Grand National, the tip I was given this morning, and it wasn't from Macca, was Vicente. Each way is a great bet. And
I've got it each way.
Very good friend of mine. Brilliant, a grand apiece, fantastic Macca, as I heard earlier. No, Vicente is the one that I would have put money on. Each way is the bet. That's what I was told this morning from my good friend. So I think that sounds like a solid bet. Incidentally, John Sutton has just come on for Stelios here for St Mirren. And Jack Ross again going bonkers down on the sidelines here. I'll keep you updated, but it's still one apiece. 66 minutes gone at the Paisley 2021 Stadium.
Okay, thank you very much to Des. What about Cappello? Is there an update there from Kevin Harper on the game Morton against Hibernian?
Obviously not.
Oh, we'll come back to Kevin. You know that kind of a blank look. There's a line of everyone. Let's get back to Kevin now. Kevin, you had that look on your face as if, hello, can you hear me?
That's true, Peter. I couldn't hear you from the crowd noise here. Morton have equalised here at Cappello. It's Morton 1, Hibs 1, and it's a penalty from Shanklin who puts it away, but all starts, ball up to Shanklin. Effie Ambrose, I don't know where he's going. He tries to beat Shanklin, but the ball just goes past him, and then the ball goes into he passes it to McDonough, and then McGregor comes in and brings him down. No need for a challenge, and up steps the penalty, and then up steps Shanklin to put the keeper the wrong way to make it Morton 1, Hibs 1.
So, all level there, a little twist in the tail, Ruffy.
Yeah, I would think one each or a draw there would be a good result there, to keep everybody happy and shake hands and a wee cuddle and then go up the road if it stays up.
Yeah. The one other element of, and I'm going to mention this to you, Ruffy, the one other element of football that could be significant is the team that actually defeats Celtic this season will gain a lot of credit too. Kilmarnock have a chance to do that now because they've equalised in the match, Ruffy. It's Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 1, Jordan Jones with the goal.
Yep, I said that. Partick Thistle have proved it. Yes, I did. I said they proved it at 1-0. You always have a chance. You always think you'll get a chance. Yeah. But when you get that chance, you've got to take it. And it looks as if Kilmarnock have taken the chance. And it just depends to see now whether Celtic can step up a gear.
Okay. I think they've all got him sus now. Brendan Rodgers is...
Yeah, absolutely. He's lost it. I can't believe he's lost it. I can tell you there's another goal in this game now. I think in La Liga, Ruffy. It's Real Madrid 1, Atletico 0. You didn't know that, did you? Pepe has scored the goal.
Again,
He's still going.
He's in the good goal scoring form.
Yeah.
They must be coming up for corners and. But again, you know that they're beginning. I think it was the game during the week. I think they actually left Ronaldo and Bale out of the team. So it just shows you the riches that they've got to play with.
Yeah, but I tell you, Craig Whiting has almost scored for Dundee. They're battling away, Hearts with that slender advantage through Goncalves 1-0.
Yeah, well, if as long as it stays that way, I get a feeling for that Dundee will want to get something back out of that. But I was just going to ask you something, Peter, before you move on to Morton. Do you think Jim Duffy's getting a chance of being in the running for Manager of the Year?
I think he'll win championship.
I think he's done a great job.
I think he might. Joey, tell you something. I'm going to go back on that. I think Neil Lennon will win it.
Yeah.
You know, because I've watched, and Ruffy has watched, and amazing sometimes when Neil Lennon's been denied Manager of the Year when Celtic were winning titles. But I think Neil Lennon will win it this year because Hibs have failed over a 3-year period. I think this time around. And remember, Macca, the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup too.
The difference in finances, the difference in structure between Morton and Hibs, I understand and I know.
This is when you have to say, but what are the credentials? What are the credentials of being a manager? We all know about resources, we all know about budgets, but at the end of the day, surely it's getting there and winning things.
Well, I'll tell you what the credentials are. Quite simply, the Manager of the Year is voted for by the managers. And if they don't like you, as Ruffy mentioned earlier, that's a little bit of the equation.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he's done a...
I think if you're looking at the job, if you're looking at the budget, if you're looking at what they should be achieving, you know, I know that, you know, Douglas Ray and Crawford Ray are so impressed with what Jim Duffy's offered there. But I think equally Rod Petrie and Leanne Dempster have looked at Neil Lennon and said, the difference is Alan Stubbs won the Scottish Cup and ended that long wait, and he deserves tremendous credit. But they couldn't get out of that division.
He's got that winning mentality. I know, understand all that. You know, I would love. I've just with Jim. I would love if Gordon steps aside at Scotland at some point. I think I would love to see him at the helm of Scotland. Jim Duffy. Honestly, I would love to see him.
They won't wear it because I don't think. I don't know. I'm maybe doing him a disservice here. But I don't think... I think there's a level again where you have to be able to... I think there's a level again where you have to be considered for the top job, Ruffy. I don't think people would accept Jim Duffy as a realistic option.
Well, it used to be, you know, somebody had come to the end of their career, you know, had done...
I understand all that.
You know, but now it's changed a wee bit now. And it seems to be if you've been in management for 4 or 5 years and you've done particularly well, you get... promoted. You get Martin O'Neill doing the island job. You've got Gordon had relatives. So it's come down a bit. It's come down. The younger managers are getting a chance now where it was before. It used to be like Jock Stein, who was at the end of his career, or Sir Alec Ferguson, or whatever. So I agree with Peter. I don't think he's at the level yet of managing a top club and winning trophies and that kind of thing that would justify him getting that job.
Yeah, I can tell you Stoke 1, Liverpool 1. Philippe Coutinho has scored the equalising goal in that match. So Liverpool with it all to do in that one. I just wonder, Macca, Chelsea the title, and then below that, have you picked your 2 or 3?
Well, you know what? Liverpool have struggled against teams that they should go and beat, and they've won all their games against the big ones, haven't they?
I think they've got enough of a cushion, though, you would think, against Man United and Arsenal.
I think Man United and Arsenal are going to be, they're going to be fighting for that.
Yeah, the only problem is they've got games in hand. You know, and I can tell you, 2-1 to Celtic. Scott Sinclair scores the goal, Ruffy, that puts them back out in front at home.
One of the reasons why I've got him in the top 4 for the players one, I'm sure he will be in the sports writers as well. I mean, everybody's been talking about Dumbelly this year. I think Scott Sinclair, form-wise, has been more consistent. I think he's been great to watch, and I think if you were to ask Brendan Rodgers, I think he would agree as well that he's possibly the first name in a Celtic team.
I think it's a great piece of business. I mean, he was doing nothing at Aston Villa, but Brendan had him at Swansea, and they knew what he was capable of to go and get him for $3 million or whatever, I think it's a great piece of business.
Yep, Airnell, Queen of the South won, Stephen Dobby with the goal. So Ayr really up against it now. If something can happen at St Mirren, that would really put the cat among the pigeons, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly would. I mean, obviously, they don't know what's happening down at Ayr United, but certainly even the point that St Mirren have got just now will still be on the up, but I'm sure they would rather they got the second goal to take the 3 points.
Yeah, Stoke 1, Liverpool 2. Firmino has scored so soon after Coutinho had equalised. You can only score for Liverpool now if your name ends in O. So Firmino gets the goal as well. And I was just saying there, the other thing I was going to ask you, Ruffy, does Scott Sinclair, you know, when you bear in mind at the tail end of the season, sometimes if you had a rich vein of form that sticks in people's mind, do you think that could influence, you know, your man? He scored 23 goals for Celtic.
I would think the voting papers would have been into the clubs around about February. You know, I think the votes would have been possibly...
Yeah, they go in early, that's what I always thought they were in early.
You know, sometimes when we make decisions, the season isn't finished.
Sometimes somebody comes in for a run, don't they, in the end, and you think, when it comes to the awards, you think,
we had the situation last year with the managers in particular. You know, managers that are in semi-finals, you don't know whether they're going to go and win it or not.
Yeah,
and
would
you throw any other players into the 4 that I mentioned?
No, I can't see anybody. I can't see anyone out with the 4 that you mentioned, Ruffy. I don't think there will be anyone. I mean, it might be a token gesture of an Aberdeen player, but other than that, no. I think you're absolutely, I think you're spot on. And again, we just don't have, we don't have that insight into the voting, because the players will have sent all their votes back, Macca, and then we wait and wonder. May 7th at the Hilton, the PFA Player of the Year Awards. And then, of course, Scottish football writers might have
I gather you know that because you're doing it again. Are you doing it again this year, are you?
Well, I don't want to. I never like to tempt fate, Macca, but
is that a rolling contract? Is it?
To be honest with you, this is a special year. I mean, it's a special year this year.
Every year's special.
No, this is a significantly special year.
Why is that?
Well, this is
your 10th
10 in a row.
anniversary.
I mean, that's all I'm saying to you, Ruffy. You don't take it for granted, but 10 in a row is 10 in a row. That's what I'm saying to you.
You've got that continuity with most of the players who have been about, so that's a good thing. You feel comfortable when you get up there.
Michael Higdon still lives long in the memory, Ruffy. It's the best night we've ever had at the PFA Awards. Michael Higdon and the Motherwell players had decided they possibly didn't think that anybody was going to win it from Motherwell, and they decided to, you know, really enjoy themselves from about 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
The day before.
And I didn't actually think Michael Higdon was going to make it up onto the stage, Ruffy, because he looked a little worse for wear.
Yeah, but it just shows you there's somebody from Motherwell winning it, you know, and we're talking about Celtic running away with everything. It just shows you how things have changed down through the years.
Yep, absolutely. He was a good lad, Michael Higdon. Where is he now? There's a good newspaper back page headline.
I mean, he let us.
China.
He actually.
China? Yeah.
I thought he'd be
retired. If he's in China, we're going to get him.
He owes us a drink because he was buying us around just when he escorted to the jail.
Robbie, I do wish you hadn't mentioned that. Unbelievable.
That's incredible.
He just
says round. I tell you what, that's what I mean. You don't forget anything, do you?
No, you don't. Absolutely not.
You're Scorpio.
And of course, the reaction from Neil Lennon. I think it was the year that Mixu Patalainen was voted. I mean, and the look on his face was absolutely priceless, wasn't it? He should have been manager of the year that year.
Of course he should have.
Yep. Queen of the South 2-0 against Ayr.
Wow.
Yep. Game's up there for Ayr.
I think so. But yeah, you're right.
Dobby scored again.
When you think when you get along to these awards and you think you've got a good chance and you should win it, and then somebody at left field wins it. I mean, I don't even know what the credentials were for Mixu that year to win it. But I think
he won a corner.
Neil obviously thought that
he won a corner.
He had justified. And the lasting words are, "You're having a laugh."
Yes.
But I was
so glad you've edited that down, Ruffy, because there was a few extra words in there. And Celtic are 3-1 up now on Kilmarnock. James Forrest scores the goal.
That's another one, Peter, that you think, you know, albeit Brendan Rodgers. Forrest, I thought, was in his way out. He wasn't interested, and and all of a sudden Ben's come in and he just took off again.
I don't know you, but when I see James Forrest, I always expect a bit more.
I expect more. I expect more
him to be like, no Ryan Giggs, but I expect him to deliver more in games.
Yeah, well, I think the key word is, Ruffy, I expect more of an end product.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's the key to a really good winger. The end product. You know, know what your strengths are and do it. I always remember Davy Provan saying to me, you know, everybody was, when he joined Celtic, he said everybody expected, you know, a Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
And he said, I wasn't that type of player. What I was a player who had a specific job. My job was to supply the striker.
Yeah.
So what he did was he got to an angle where he could shift the ball to an angle where he would be able to clip it round the defender. And that's all he did, non-stop. Angle, clip it in.
Yeah.
That's my job, and make sure I get it into an area where a good striker can go and attack it.
Well, that's what most of the training was at Celtic during the week.
But as a striker, that's all you want. That's all you can ask for.
It was all functions that made that happen.
Yeah.
You know, midfield to the winger to the byline.
Get across
two
in the
strikers,
box.
movement in the box, first striker, second striker, and if you practice enough at it, it becomes perfect.
Yep, absolutely. Albion Rovers are 2-0 up on Stranraer in League One. That's another update on the goals going in this afternoon. Let's go back to St Mirren just to get a flavour from Des on whether the news from Ayr United is filtering through to Paisley.
I don't think so, Peter, although the St Mirren fans around us, they're obviously just concentrating and trying to will their own team on to victory. It's still 1 apiece, 10 minutes left. However, it's Dumbarton that are pushing as we speak. Great ball into the box. Oh, just a corner. It's just been flicked behind again by Gary McKenzie, which gives Dumbarton another corner. Andy Stirling just went close from a free kick. And for the last 20 minutes, St Mirren haven't really carved out anything clear cut. Stevie Mallon had a strike from about 25 yards after about 63, 64 minutes. That was the last time they really threatened. It's now Dumbarton that are asserting the pressure and looking to take all 3 points from the game. Christian Nadi has just come on for Stevie Aitken's side, and it's just cleared out of the box again. It's very much Dumbarton the ascendancy at the moment, Peter. Still 1 apiece into the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Des, what's the standard of the colouring in behind you? Is she doing well with the painting, or is it just gone?
I did say to you, Peter, believe it or not, the young lady is doing her own match report, and she takes it into school every Monday with her.
Oh, wow.
In fact,
and there's one of the
so
Blues
she's
brothers
not
behind her.
she's doing her own match report.
Well, can I tell you this, Des? If you could have a look, if you look to your left-hand side of that young lady, there's your replacement, waiting now.
The guy with the Blues brothers.
Knowing full well the young lady's going to replace you.
There he is.
She's certainly got more hair.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And she's just telling her dad that you're annoying her. That's magnificent. Still 1-1. Okay, thanks, Des. Stenhousemuir 3, East Fife 1. Magic stuff, Des McKeown. There's always something happens in Paisley. It's just a place where something always pops up, as Mac and myself can tell you on many a night there. Anyway, points done and dusted. Celtic maintain that unbeaten record, and I think, you know, I know you've mentioned Aberdeen because of the final batch of games, roughly after the split, but I think the key to this is the 2 Rangers games.
Yes, I think Rangers will be fired up. They will believe on the day. If things go right, that they've got a chance, and I think we would all have to agree with that. Playing in an Old Firm game, anything can happen on the day. Something you can score first, you can lose a player, all these things can happen, but. As we keep saying, if Celtic have got their main big players playing on the day, you can't see them. You just can't see them.
Ruffy, give me your thoughts on a day when, at the bottom end, managers want players to be sensible, managers want players to be, restrained and not putting any of their teammates under pressure. Larnell Cole, second bookable offence, sent off for Inverness. They're a goal behind to St Johnstone, and that's the last thing that Richie Foran wants to see. Yeah, when you're standing at the side, your hands are tied, you can't do anything at all, and certainly players making decisions like that are costing you dearly. I think he's quite a good player, that boy Cole. I've watched him.
Well, the thing is, it depends how much when it's now Falkirk. It depends on what he's like as a player. I don't know what he's like as a person, because, as I said to you earlier, Peter, when I get sent off against Rangers, I thought I'd let everyone down, let the teammates down, and it bothered me.
Yeah.
So it's whether these boys have got that. Some people now, they just, they go and play the game and they don't take. It hurt me, getting sent off.
Yeah, I think it still does.
Yeah.
If you let your teammates down, Macca. Sometimes I get a little worried about this kind of a almost blanket approach to saying all players don't care.
No, not all players. I don't know the boy. I don't know the personality of the boy, so I don't know him. So that's what I meant.
Let's go to Kevin Harper and just see if there's any team looking the more likely to score in that game between Morton and Hibs.
Peter, here it's Morton. Morton 1, Hibs 1 still. But it's the only team that look like scoring are Morton, putting pressure on Hibs. Hibs are trying to play almost on the counter-attack, Peter. But everything that goes up front is getting knocked down, and Morton are picking the second balls up. Here it's Morton 1, Hibs 1.
So, Dundee United 1, Falkirk 1. Luke Leahy with the equaliser, Ruffy, in that match. Listen, there's not one team that I'm looking at in that division that's really made a push. I mean, Dunfermline are ahead against Wraith Rovers. It's not a good day for Wraith Rovers, but the rest of them, you just can't split them.
Yeah, and that's why Hibs have been so fortunate in the last couple of months. They haven't really set in the head on fire. They haven't been winning the games they should, drawing a lot. But you would have thought if any one of these teams were picking up 3 points, that gap would be much, much closer.
Okay, Albion Rovers 3-0 up on Stranraer now, and that is in League One. And elsewhere in the Premiership, if there's a late bit of drama, if it comes at Hamilton or indeed at the Tulloch Stadium in Inverness, and it's a negative scoreline for these managers, who would want to be the player who gets sent off, who's in the dressing room having to face not only the wrath of the manager but the players as well? As we told you just a couple of seconds ago there, Dundee United 1-1 with Falkirk. Luke Leahy with the equaliser. I always like to keep everyone up to date on the programme. It's always good. As far as the Premier League is concerned, what do you make of it, Ruffy? Who have you picked now as the three teams going down? It's changing every week. That's the biggest problem about it. Sunderland, I think, are gone. Middlesbrough, Swansea. I think Middlesbrough look as if it's a forlorn hope for them as well.
Well, I think they're the same as everybody in our division. You're just looking to go to games and picking up a point here, a point there. There will be crucial games near the end, and generally in the English one, it's usually the last day. It's usually everybody's waiting to the fixtures of the last day. It's usually top and bottom, but I don't know if it'll be like that this year.
Okay, I'm picking Sunderland, Middlesbrough to go, and I'm going to suggest to you that I'm going to go for Hull City to go as a third one. And I'm not just saying that because Hull City have actually listened to that and they've just scored against Man City. Ranocchia has got the goal. I've gone for that, Macca. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Hull. Who do you think? I think Swansea, Crystal Palace are probably the two most realistic teams in the mix.
Crystal Palace, Big Sam's done it again. No matter what you think, he's got them by the scruff of the neck and turned them round. They got a great result at Chelsea, and that's probably saved them. That has probably saved them. But I've got to go with Swansea. Because West Ham's in a terrible state at the moment. They're not playing good football. There's a lot of injuries, and if they go there and get beat with West Ham, then it's they're letting in goals right, left, and centre. West Ham at the moment, so. You've got to say Swansea's got to come into that equation, Peter, because they're not scoring against West Ham.
Ruffy.
Yeah, I would the same. I would have Swansea in there. They're hitting the bad form at the wrong time, whereas other teams are scraping wee points here and there. There's Middlesbrough might scrape a point today, which will help. But I would think I'll not be far away with the teams we've mentioned.
And isn't it amazing? No one is talking about Leicester now, Ruffy.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. It's. You have to be an inside story to really see what's happened there. And,
it's a great book, and I can tell you right now, Liam Craig has scored the second goal for St Johnstone. Inverness Cally Thistle 0. Liam Craig scores from the penalty spot to give Cally Thistle a 2-goal advantage. A 2-goal advantage for St Johnstone against Inverness Cally Thistle. So. That game's dead and buried now for them, and I think Inverness. I think Inverness are the team that look most likely to be relegated. It's between Motherwell and Hamilton, and another.
Yeah, I think Dundee,
Yeah.
as it stands, obviously Ross County look as if they're going to get a point, which will be good for them. But no, I think the split is going to be cutthroat. It'll be interesting when the fixtures go out. Who's got 3 games at home and 2 games away? Somebody will have something to say about that, and I think that's going to be really important this year.
Kilmarnock out of it for you, Macca. They're on 34.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. See, when Gordon's not here, we've not got the stats. It's
34 Kilmarnock as it stands. 31 Ross County and Hamilton Accies. Dundee 30, Motherwell 29, Inverness 25.
Has that St Johnstone result?
So, who do you suggestion's going in?
I think Inverness.
Right, Inverness, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
but it's a playoff place that
so
Motherwell, Dundee, Hamilton Accies, Ross County,
Motherwell.
Kilmarnock could be in there. They're not that far away.
Has that St Johnstone result put Rangers under a wee bit of pressure for Europe?
I can tell you right now.
Third, yeah.
It has, although Rangers have a couple will have a game in hand, which up at Pittodrie tomorrow we'll find out. Let's go to St Mirren. There's been a bit of drama there. Des McKeown.
Yeah, into the final minute, Peter, and Adam Eckersley, the left back of St Mirren, has just been shown his second yellow card of the afternoon, which obviously results in a red just down in front of us here. He took down one of the Dumbarton players on the counter-attack. I think it was David Smith charging down the right-hand side. Eckersley took him out crudely, and he's been sent packing. So now into a time added on, St Mirren are left with only 10 men to try and repel the Dumbarton players, who are now shaping up to launch the ball into the box into the final seconds. It's still one apiece here in Paisley, but St Mirren down to 10 men.
Well, I think Jack Ross will just be saying everybody behind the ball, Ruffy, just make sure that nothing happens in the last few seconds.
No, and he'll be disappointed after the good result for last week to not capitalise on today. But again, full credit to Dumbarton, who are digging in there. They don't want to be in that playoff place either. So again, when the game's finished today, as they stand, going to be interested in looking at all the positions in the league and points, and I think it's still going to be really, really close.
Yep, it is indeed. Okay, coming up very shortly, we'll be looking at Aberdeen against Rangers, and I can tell you that there's more misery up at the Tulloch Stadium. Inverness Cally Thistle 0, St Johnstone 3, Graham Cummins with the goal. And on such results, managers just wonder where the inspiration is going to come from. Richie Foran must feel as if his team are really up against it in the forthcoming weeks. They're going to have to show some form of battling qualities, which I have not witnessed, Ruffy.
No, the manager hasn't witnessed it either. He's trying to galvanise everybody together and saying they're not too far away from getting a win, but certainly that result today wouldn't go along with what he's saying. So they're one of the teams, obviously, who will be saying to themselves, right, we're in it, we're in the split, we've now got a chance to play the 5 teams that are run about us, and we really have to start picking up points.
Yep, and Hamilton Accies, well, it was looking good for them with Massimo Donati scoring the goal to give them a 1-goal advantage, but then the equaliser came in from Ross County through Craig Curran. That was after Giannis Skondras had received a red card as well for a lunge on Ryan Dow. Hamilton Accies not out of it. Macca, are you just looking and
I'm just saying St Johnstone have just scored again, so it's 3-0 now. I know. So, but I'm just looking at the score. It's just come up. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. Hamilton, I know. I'm just saying Hamilton, whether it goes down to goals, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. The only reason I'm laughing, Macca, and it's not because I think you're stupid, it's just because I'm wondering where the DeLorean car is. I did say that 60 seconds ago.
I know you did, but I'm just thinking about Hamilton, if they can do something.
In the goal difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you picked Hamilton as the playoff place now? I think Inverness. You agree Inverness?
Inverness, yeah, but it's going to be so tight down there, Peter, that maybe goals are going to come into it.
Give us a team. You've only got 5 games left. Who are you going to go for?
Who am I going to go for? I'll go for Ross County.
Okay, Ross County, okay, there's a twist in the tail. Full time at St Mirren. Macca, is he going to be a happy man, or is it just living to fight another day? Let's find out. Des McKeown.
Full time at the Paisley 2021 Stadium. It's finished St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1. It's honours even for the third time this season between both sides. However, the point should take Jack Ross's side off the bottom of the table if results stay as they are at the present time. It was St Mirren who started well, scored after 10 minutes. It was Cammy Smith driving across the pitch, fed Kyle McGuinness in the right hand side of the pitch. He cut in onto his left foot, drilled a low shot below Alan Martin in the Dumbarton goal. However, Dumbarton got level in level terms after 36 minutes. Gregor Buchanan flighted a direct free kick from inside his own half deep into the penalty box, in St Mirren penalty box. The ball was headed out. It was controlled by Lewis Vaughan, who immediately dispatched it into the bottom corner of Billy O'Brien's net to make it 1 apiece. Just before half time, however, it was Rory Loy who turned sinner. He had the chance to give St Mirren the lead again from the penalty spot after Stephen McGinn had been fouled. Alan Martin stretched all the way out to his right hand side, just inside the post, and touched Loy's spot kick wide and out for a corner. Half time, 1 apiece. That's the way it finished. There was very little between the sides in the second half. Spells of domination for St Mirren early in the half, spells of domination for Dumbarton late in the half. It finished off with 10 men for St Mirren. Adam Eckersley sent off into the final seconds. It's finished in Paisley. St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1.
Okay, we will come back to Des and hopefully get a chat with some of the main people involved in the game and the managers as well. It's getting close to the full time at Morton as well. We'll get the thoughts of Kevin Harper. Dunfermline have defeated Wraith by a 1-0 in the Championship, and Dundee United shared the spoils with Falkirk 1-1 there. Queen of the South won at Somerset Park by 2-0 against Ayr United. In the Premiership, Celtic's unbeaten run keeps going. They're undefeated, only those 3 draws that anyone can brag about. Partick Thistle, Inverness and Rangers with the draws. Let's quickly go to Capello. Full time there, Kevin Harper.
Full time here, Peter. It ended Morton 1, Hibernian 1, and it was a story of 2 halves. Hibs dominated the first half and went ahead in the 26th minute with a goal from Jason Cummings. It was a long ball away. The Morton defender didn't deal with it. Jason Cummings beat up for pace and struck it across into the bottom left-hand corner. And then after that, nothing really happened, Peter, to be honest. It was a bit like the managers. They were both, the teams were fighting for the ball. There was a lot of long balls played. Then in the second half, Morton came out a totally different team. They dominated the game and got their rewards after 60 minutes. Effie Ambrose goes to win the ball off Shanklin from one side. Shanklin lets the ball roll past him, plays in O'Donnell. O'Donnell gets tripped by McGregor. Shanklin steps up and puts the goalkeeper the wrong way to make to the equaliser. And after that, Morton pushed, but nothing really happened. Final score here, Morton 1, Hibs 1.
So, sharing the spoils. Might even get a chance to have a chat with Jim Duffy and Neil Lennon trackside. With a bit of luck, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. So, the full-time scores on the way across all 4 divisions next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Frank McAvenny are with me here as we look over the final scores across all the divisions of Scotland and in the Premier League in England. So, to the Premiership in Scotland first of all. Celtic 3, Kilmarnock 1, Hamilton 1, Ross County 1, Hearts 1, Dundee 0, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, St Johnstone 3, and Partick Thistle 1, Motherwell 0. In the Championship, Ayr United 0, Queen of the South 2, Dundee United 1, Falkirk 1, Dunfermline 1, Raith Rovers 0, Morton 1, Hibernian 1, St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1. In League 1, Airdrieonians 3, Brecon City 1, Albion Rovers 3, Stranraer 0, Livingston 2, Alloa 1, Queen's Park 2, Peterhead 0, Stenhousemuir 3, East Fife 1. Livingston officially declared champions of League 1. They're heading to the Championship. League 2, Perrick Rangers 0, Stirling Albion 1, Clyde 2, Annan Athletic 1, Edinburgh City 1, Cowdenbeath 1, Elgin City 1, Montrose 1, and Forfar 1, Arbroath 1. In the Premier League in England, Tottenham 4, Watford 0, Manchester City 3, Hull City 1, Middlesbrough 0, Burnley 0, Stoke City 1, Liverpool 2, West Brom 0, Southampton 1, West Ham 1, Swansea 0, and Bournemouth against Chelsea is the 5:30 kickoff. So congratulations to Livingston off the back of Celtic securing the Premiership title last week. Livingston are going to the Championship, Ruffy.
Yeah, they've done well all year. They've been very, very consistent. It's been them and Alloa all the way through. But certainly, Livingston, I think they'll be a good addition. As you've touched on earlier, they were in the doldrums for a wee while there, but they're beginning to get their act together behind the scenes, and I think they'll be a good addition to the Championship.
Yep, in the Madrid derby in Spain, it's Real Madrid 1, Atletico Madrid 1, and Antoine Griezmann has got the equaliser. Just 5 minutes to go in that match. See, we keep you up to date with everything here. It's
not a bad player, is he?
We're only he's not a bad player. Could be heading to Manchester United. 15 minutes to go before I think we can start to look towards the Grand National. But I think the key element of today's results in the Premiership is Hamilton, Motherwell and Inverness at the bottom end. Dundee, Ross County not out of it. Maybe Kilmarnock will feel they've got a little bit of breathing space. But we'll be discussing the bottom end of the Premiership. We'll be discussing the Championship as well, because I think we'll be speaking to maybe some players and managers over at the Paisley 2021 Stadium very shortly after this quick break. And we'll also hopefully hear from maybe Jim Duffy and Neil Lennon as well. A share of the spoils in that match at Capello. It ended Morton 1, Hibernian 1. Give us your thoughts at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter. Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Give us your thoughts on your favourite team, how it all panned out for you over the 90 minutes, what's pleased you and what's angered you. Join Alan Ruff, Frank McAvenny and myself after this quick break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. To Paisley we go, and Des McKeown is with Dumbarton boss Stevie Aitken.
Yes, delighted to be joined by Dumbarton manager Stephen Aitken. Steve, we spoke prior to the game, and you said that you had a particular game plan to bring to the Paisley 2021 stadium. How well did your players execute those instructions?
I thought it went to plan. I thought the shape of the team was great. When you come to places like St Mirren, you have to do that. And we hit in the break as well. I thought a threat going forward. I think over the piece, I'm delighted with the point. The players in there are shattered. Everyone at a man worked their socks off the team, and we're picking up results, and long may that continue.
Yeah, a lot's been made of the fact, a part-time club, you're punching above your weight. Do your players surprise you ever?
It's funny because Ian Durant just said that he's been gobsmacked with the boys put in. We'll get him for less than 3 hours a week, and some boys can't get to train because of work commitments. So we're up against it with all these full-time clubs, but we use that an advantage to try and prove people wrong. But we've got a great bunch of boys. I'm delighted for them. We're trying to get them over the line. We're trying if we can, and they're in a position where they deserve to be, and hopefully we can see it out. And
do you have a target in mind in terms of how many points would allow you to sleep at night?
I'm not sure if I'll get that stage. We get 34 points last year, and I think any manager, when you get into a new season, try and improve on that. We've improved on that, but it's sitting at 35, so I still think another 3 points. I think another win would maybe make a team different about us, but 4 cup finals to go, and certainly in a good position.
And lastly, it's one of these leagues that every week, you must be wondering what is happening at other grounds. I mean, is that something that you're aware of during the course of the 90 minutes?
Also, we kind of affect it, but we're not going to be kid on and say we're not aware of it. Certainly I looked around a few times to try and see what the score was going to go and be. We went for a fail today, but a few weeks ago we got a terrific point in Easter Road, and we actually dropped down a place in the league. So it's so competitive, and the fact that Dumbarton are very competitive in that division speaks volumes to the players.
We wish you all the best, team. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thanks.
So there you are. He thinks another 3 points, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean they've done well. I think the good thing about this season is they've picked up points against the teams at the top of the league when everybody thought they had no chance, and that's where they are just now. And certainly they've been able to pick up points away from home. And I think when he looks at the league at the end of the table, that's been the success, the points away from home. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we'll be too far away from speaking to Jim Duffy just after this break, after that 1-1 draw down there at Capello. But I have to say, Ruffy, congratulations to Partick Thistle. They are now guaranteed top 6 finish.
Yeah, I'm sure the boys will be celebrating in the dressing room. It's fantastic. For the last 3 or 4 seasons, it's been touch and go down the bottom of the league. It's been a long, long season for the fans, having to put up with that. And even Alan Archibald, who has been a master of getting them out of that bottom 6, and now he's achieved it, and I'm sure everybody will be having a few drinks at this.
Do you think they'll be celebrating finishing in the top 6?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Ruffy. I think it's a fantastic achievement. When we talk about budgets and we talk about expectations of other clubs that are actually below them, and of course the other thing we can't forget about the Jags is the standard of football they've been playing this year, and Chris Doolan has popped up with some crucial goals. He's played his part, as have many others in that Thistle team. Well done to the Jags. We'll be heading back to St Mirren. We'll also be going to Capello after this break. We'll look at Aberdeen Rangers too. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. A day when there were a few twists and turns in the Premiership and the Championship as well in Scotland. We'll look at that, League One and League Two. We'll be speaking to a few managers who've been involved in some games today which have implications at the top and the bottom end of the respective leagues. In the Premiership, Celtic maintain this impressive record, undefeated domestically after a 3-1 win over Kilmarnock. We'll bring you some of the thoughts of Brendan Rodgers after that win, in which Stuart Armstrong continued his rich vein of form with a goal in the 3-1 win. Scott Sinclair as well. Will he be in the running for the Player of the Year awards when it comes up at the start of the month? I'm delighted to say we're going to go to Capello because the Morton boss, Jim Duffy, is there. Jim, thanks for joining us on the programme. It ended 1-1. Did you think you were worthy of maybe something more?
No, not really, Peter. I think that one each was a fair result. I think Hibs were the better side in the first half. Without creating too many opportunities, they were certainly the side in the ascendancy. I think they controlled most of the game, and we were kind of just digging in and just trying to stay in the game. They scored a terrific goal through Cummins, and then second half we managed to get ourselves a bit higher up the pitch. You know, we picked up more of the second balls, and it wasn't a classic football match, but I think when you take a point against the league leaders, then you've got to be quite pleased, particularly after going a goal down.
Yep, the last time I spoke to you last week, you were fairly calm about your altercation with Neil Lennon, and now, even before a ball was kicked, there was a cuddle between you and the Hibs manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's as everything else is, you know, discussed and debated, and everybody seemed to get their knickers in a twist a wee bit about it. But the bottom line is, it's over and done with now. So, you know, we shook hands. We had a very light embrace, I think, and we're fine with it. We're absolutely fine. And I wish Neil well for the rest of the campaign, and we'll look to see if we can finish the season strongly.
Yeah. Will you have a cup of tea with him after the interview?
Well, unfortunately, at Capello, if anybody knows, we don't have a manager's office. I think they change the managers that often, they don't bother with one. But they don't have a manager's office here and nowhere to go. So, but that's the same for every single manager that's came here in the period I've been here. So, don't read anything into that other than the fact is we just don't have an office.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, it's yet again, Jim, it proves the point about your team. You know, you got a draw at Easter Road and well worthy of it, and it was maybe, as you mentioned, lost in what happened at the end of the game. But again, you've managed to compete with a team that are on the verge of winning that championship.
Yeah, I mean, we've competed really well right throughout the campaign, Peter. That's why we've continued, you know, to be impressive at times, you know. But we've still got a bit to go. We got another injury today to Gary Oliver to come off in the first half, and that's the test. We don't have quite the same. We can't bring on someone, you know, like Grant Holt or Andrew Shinney, or these kind of types of quality of players. So we've got to shift things around a little bit at times, and that's I think the most pleasing thing for me this season is that every time we've asked guys to go and put a shift in, even if it's not their natural position, they've given us that commitment, and that's allowed, as I said, to be quite consistent right through the season.
Jim, we wish you well for the rest of the season and the playoffs as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Peter. Cheers, mate.
Brilliant, Jim Duffy there after another good point against Hibernian. I think we could switch our attention to St Mirren very shortly because Des McKeown will have one of the managers, Jack Ross, I would imagine, and Neil Lennon won't be too far away at Hibernian. So, yeah, Jim Duffy, I think, deserves, again, praise. This time around, there's nothing to detract from the fact they've got a good point against Hibs, Macca.
Yeah, it was a great, I mean, there was a lot, as Jim said, there was a lot of nonsense going on about, you know, Neil and Jim, and, you know, and taking away from the fact that they're both decent teams, and it must have been a decent game down there. And the big thing for me is that Morton stood up, and it wasn't a one-off against Hibs. They stood up and they matched, as you said, the team that is going to win the championship and won, you know, comfortably, I think. So you've got to give credit to Jim down there, and what he's saying is he's got players there that are roll the sleeves up and play out of position and do the things, do the dirty work that people don't like doing. So he's got a good squad of players there.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be too far away from the fixtures being announced for the last games after the split. I can tell you that on the final weekend of the season, that's the 20th of May, the bottom 6 fixtures will be played on Saturday, May 20th, and the top 6 matches will be played on May 21st. So let's go to Paisley, to St Mirren Stadium, where the St Mirren boss, Jack Ross, is with Des McKeown.
Yeah, hard fought draw, Jack, but I suppose the huge positive is that you step off of bottom spot in the division.
Yeah, that's very much the message that I've just given to the players, that they're disappointed because of the standards I've set recently, that we didn't win the game. It was a difficult match, it was hard fought, and they have to remember where they were 3 or 4 months ago, how far adrift they were, how many people had written them off, and to come off the bottom of the table with five games to go is testament to what they've done in there. And with the opportunity on Tuesday, obviously, to come out the bottom 2 if we go and win the game. So satisfied with the position we're in, disappointed that we didn't reach the standards we have recently, but they deserve to come off the bottom for all the work they've done over the last few months.
I suppose looking at your head-to-heads with Dumbarton this season, it proves how difficult a team to play against Dumbarton are. So, as you've said, you know, perhaps your standards not quite where they were for previous games, particularly last week against Ayr United, but certainly not an easy touch, Dumbarton.
No, far from it. I think I said this prior to the match, and I expected that. They have a style of playing, but they also have good quality in the final third. They have good pace, and Andy Stirling and Vaughan, and Thompson's a good player who provides that focal point for them, and I expected them to cause us problems in forward areas. I expected us to try and cause them problems as well. I think over the piece, territorially we dominated, probably created slightly more chances, but it was competitive. It was a competitive game. That's because they are where they are in the league for a reason.
And without trying to get you into trouble, Jack, that's the most animated I've seen you on the sidelines. Is that just a mixture of the situation you find yourself in, some of the refereeing decisions, and just the nature of the tension in the job?
Yeah, I think so. I think it sometimes just reflects your passion for the job. I think sometimes we overlook that. I know there's been a lot of focus on that recently because things can then go beyond a certain point, but the nature of football is passionate, whether you're on the park or you're managing and coaching a team, and I sometimes think that officials have to understand that a bit better. That would be my only thing I would say. I try and have that dialogue with them. Some are good at it, some others not so much. And the thing I was getting animated today was when a player is off the park injured, comes back on and receives the ball, which isn't right, and the referee admitted that. It would be nice for them to hold their hands up now and again. So, but yeah, it's look at I'm passionate about this club, passionate about the job, and you get involved in it. As long as you don't overstep that line, then I think you're okay.
And a big game on Tuesday night, just down the road, another quiet one for you down at Capello. What can you expect going down there?
Another hugely difficult game because a team that has deserved all the plaudits they've received this season, Morton, they are again in the league where they deserve to be for how they've performed over the season. I think we go there as a very different team that went to Capello. Seems a long time ago now. We're obviously starting to get stretched a little bit with injuries and suspensions, but it'll be a different game than today for us, as will the next few games. We'll play where teams probably come out against us a bit more, and I think that'll suit us. But we have had a lot of big games over the last 3 months, and it's another huge one for us again on Tuesday, but with massive reward for us if we go and win the game.
We wish you all the best, Jack. Thanks again for your time. Cheers.
Yeah, good to hear from Jack Ross there, and of course they play Morton on Tuesday. Last time these two sides met at Capello, I was there watching it. Morton played them off the park, and what a different side it is now, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think they'll find St Mirren. They'll go down there with confidence. They'll try and take something out of the game. The encouraging bit there is obviously they're off the bottom of the league. And the players will relax a wee bit more, but he'll know there's really, really important games coming up, and it's just the start of digging themselves out of the hole they were in.
Yeah, Hibs getting close to the championship at the top end, but as Jack Ross mentioned there at the bottom end, that's St Mirren off the bottom. Ayr United are now bottom on goal difference, minus 24, plays minus 11, and then 2 points above St Mirren and Ayr, Wraith Rovers, and then Dumbarton. A further 2 points up above Wraith Rovers with 35. So it looks as if that's the battle in the bottom 4 for relegation or playoff place. We hope to speak to Neil Lennon pretty soon because they're getting close to the championship title, which will finally result in Hibs going back to the Premiership, Alan Ruff.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes. I think the Hibs directors deserve a pat on the back for identifying Neil as the man to bring them back. Obviously the disappointment of last year was there for everybody. It just couldn't be a failure this year. It had to be, up, and he's done that. Well, we think he's done it, and I think he deserves a lot of credit as well. But I think he's got a good group of players there just now, and if he can build on that for next year, I'm sure they'll. I think first season, obviously, you want to try and force yourself into the top 6, but certainly with the way all the other teams are struggling just now, there's every chance of that.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Premiership, we'll be delving in there just to get a look at the bottom end. But I think we're close to getting a chance to chat with Hibs manager Neil Lennon. I don't think we're too far away from getting a little chat with the Hibs manager. We will be there very shortly. Hibs on 61 points, Falkirk on 52, Morton on 50, and Dundee United on 48. With that in mind, we're only a couple of seconds away. So I'm ducking and diving, Ruffy, as you can tell, when managers come to it. What about the Grand National, Ruffy? Is it off and running?
Well, we already had the one traditional false start, but they've got their act together, so they've taken off and they're all coming to the first flight, which is always a dangerous one, because sometimes you can go too quick to it.
Yeah, as long as none of the horses that we've suggested drop. It's as simple as that.
The only one, 2 down.
2 down. Yeah. Are we still in the running, Mac?
I think so.
That's fine. I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy with that. That's good enough for me. As long as we're still in the running, I'll be more than happy. Partick Thistle clinched top 6 spot. I think. Congratulations to Alan Archibald and all the players. That's absolutely magnificent for them. At the bottom end of the table, I think there will be major questions now. Inverness on 25, Motherwell on 29, Hamilton on 29, and then Dundee on 30, and then it's Ross County on 32 and Kilmarnock on 34. So after 32 games, nobody can catch Partick Thistle in the top 6 now. And they've guaranteed their position there. It's all about the bottom end. Inverness with a body blow today, Ruffy, and suddenly it could be the 2 Lanarkshire sides battling it out to avoid that playoff place.
Yeah, the Inverness look as if they're the team who are not on a good run. They can't buy a win. And it remains to be seen, if the manager can get his players. But he's got a lot of injuries just now, and that's what I think is going to hurt him as well. But I think it's still not done and dusted at all when it comes to that split with the 5 games to go.
Yeah, okay. And I think, I'm not sure if Des has Stephen McGinn there. Not yet. We're going to speak to Stephen McGinn. Not yet. We're on the case. Des, as ever, usually shores up everything. And Neil Lennon not too far away as the Hibs boss as well. Yeah, the 9-year-old girl is interviewing Steve McGinn first because she's one of the top reporters. That's at Mirren. Des has to wait his turn before we offer her a 3-year deal. It's as simple as that. And she'll have long questions and far more intelligent. You're absolutely right. And then we'll hopefully get a chance to find out. Sometimes in a relationship, Ruffy, it's good to get both sides of what a cuddle means. It didn't seem to mean too much to Jim Duffy. I wonder if it meant a little bit more to Neil Lennon, that cuddle.
Yeah, it seems like one of these ones where you're meeting the auntie. You have to sort of.
Is that right? I can't believe that. By the way, aunties that you don't like in your family sensation.
You don't see for a while. I know. She's never gives you a wee pound.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you only cuddle the ones that give you money.
It was good to get a wee pound when you're 6 or 7.
Yeah, do you know what's amazing, Ruffy? That even in your young years, everything's about money for you. It's incredible.
It's just incredible.
It's either that or a comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at you.
I can't believe. How's the Grand National going, Macca?
They're still there.
There you are. By the way, can you imagine Macca as your radio reporter? How's it going at the Grand National? They're still there. There you are. Thanks for that, Macca.
There's 30 horses left or something.
Okay, I think Neil Lennon is just about to join us, which is great. I'll get a great chance to chat to Neil because since he's moved through to Edinburgh, he's certainly enjoyed himself, galvanised this Hibs side, and they're on the verge. They're on the verge of getting the championship. So with a bit of luck, we'll get a chance to chat to Kevin. Okay, we'll go back to him in just 2 seconds. We're just waiting on him to get the picture. I'm sure Neil will tell him that there's no picture there and he's just got to hit a button, and then we'll get a chance to chat to him. So, Neil Lennon only seconds away with an opportunity to get his thoughts. Okay, we've got him now. Neil Lennon, welcome to the Football Show. You're getting closer to the title. Did you think you could have had more today in that game against Morton?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Peter? Yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, we were excellent first half, totally dominant. But the game was pretty even in the second half. But you need to explain to me the rules of handball. We had a penalty given against us last week. And then today, the young lad Russell has put 2 hands to the ball to stop a shot from Martin Boyle. And everyone in the main stand could see it. It's a penalty when the crowd go quiet. And my players and my staff and myself are just bewildered by, the referee's not giving a penalty. I wasn't happy with the ref's performance. I know it sounds like me moaning again, but I think he was very pro-Morton today in a lot of decisions. But the big one, he's got wrong for us. No qualms about the penalty that Morton got. This rash from Darren, who's had an outstanding season. And even after that, we've missed good chances, which has been the story of our season, really.
Yeah, can I ask you, Neil, and I know you're a passionate guy, I know you're a winner, a guy who likes to win, and I think that's something that, maybe Hibs haven't had, as passionate a guy as yourself. I mean, Alan Stubbs delivered the Scottish Cup, but you're trying to deliver a league title to get them back to the top flight, and you've played with top clubs, you've been a top manager at Celtic. Is it maybe the frustration that you're so close now, you just want to get it over the line, that the tension's getting there, and and everything. You're frustrated by it all.
Yeah, I've been a nightmare at home for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it is a constant source of frustration when we are in control of games and we can't put teams away. And at 1-0, Peter, when you're 1-0 up, you just never know what will happen. Penalty last week, penalty this week, and I've come away from the game today again with my goalkeeper being a virtual spectator. Because we're not ruthless enough, without Jason Cummings, we lack other goals, apart from McGinn, maybe, and Boyle. We've missed easy chances again today to, take the lead or go further ahead. But we're not getting much help from the officials. Like, we've touched on this week, 5 red cards we've had this season, 3 rescinded. I mean, is that a record or something? I don't know. And again, I think the referees made a big call against us, really big call against us.
Now you've got Queen of the South, and then after that, it's Aberdeen. I mean, your players have been magnificent this season, Neil. Are you saying to them now, give me one more performance of that standard, and then you'll be in that team for the semi-final?
Yeah, there's places up for grabs. I may even look now at changing the way we play. To try and get more goal threat, or someone to score more goals for me, apart from Jason. It's something I need to think about this week. I think we're near enough there in terms of the title, which is, for me personally, means a lot to me. It's a big achievement, as good as anything I've achieved at Celtic. It means a lot. And then we got a semi-final where anything can happen on the day, but we will have to play very, very well against an Aberdeen team who are in tremendous form at the minute.
And before you leave, as the last question, I never like to dwell on relationships, but how was the cuddle for you with Jim Duffy? Did it mean as much to you as it did to him?
I was a little bit nervous, Pete, to tell you the truth. he's a big man, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, listen, I've got so much time for him, got a lot of respect. I think he's one of the best managers out with the Premier League. I think he should be a contender for Manager of the Year. We had a disagreement, and there's a lot of noise surrounding it as you get when I'm involved, but there's no ill feeling, and it's done now. I just need to go to Hampden and see what the outcome of that's going to be. But as far as my relationship with Jim is concerned, it's back on track again. Yeah. Did you call him, or did you speak before you embraced on the touchline? Was there a call made this week? Yeah, he texted me. He tried to call me last week, but I'm still, you know, in the huff when I left it because I'm a big kid. And then he texted me yesterday. I got back to him this morning, and we were to and fro with the texts because life's too short, Pete. You know, especially with, you know, someone who you like a lot and have plenty of time for. But you know, I wasn't pleased with, you know, what happened that night, and you know, I've got to defend myself now at a tribunal, which I think's relatively unfair. But there are a lot of other people out there who think that I'm as much to blame as anyone else.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to leave you with this thought. I know you said that, you know, you've been in a huff, but life's too short.
Is this one of your funnies, is it?
No, I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking to myself, you might be in the running for the Manager of the Year, you might be up on that stage at the PFA Awards. Don't go in a huff with me before the end of the season, okay?
All right, mate.
Top man, brilliant, Neil Lennon, excellent, top man. Neil Lennon joining us on the programme there. Hard fought 1-1 draw, thought he could have had more, and in the end, great to see the two of them actually sorted it out. Just like men, sorting it out, and much ado about nothing, really. Ruffy, you're scrunching your face up there. Why?
No, I'm just saying I was waiting to ask me who was going to win the Grand National, and it was your horse, the Scottish horse, who won the Grand National. So well done.
Fantastic. There you are. You know, what a pundits know about anything in sport. Let's go to trackside at St Mirren. Stephen McGinn's with Des McKeown.
Yeah, we've just shared an embrace and a cuddle off camera there, Peter, so I suppose we should now ask the questions of Stephen. Stephen, your manager said that you never quite hit the levels today, but a significant point and a significant step off the bottom of the table.
It was not easy. Dumbarton have been in this league for the last few years because they do that to teams. They can frustrate you and they can take points. We know that if we'd played better we probably would have won the game, but we can't play as well as we did last week every week, and missing the penalties may be a turning point right on half time. But when you look at the table, if you'd offered us 3 months ago to be off the bottom, it could turn out to be a crucial point.
Yeah, we spoke after the win down at Ayr United at Somerset Park a few weeks ago, and I think at that point, you know, you mentioned that it was one kind of game at a time, but now it's one step at a time in terms of that's you off the bottom. You've got a massive game on Tuesday night, which since you've come back to the club there haven't been many games that haven't meant very much. Everything seems to mean something.
No, that's one of the big compliments you've got to pay the rest of the boys, that we've actually been doing really well and we're still not being off the bottom, and in a mad way our kind of worst performance recently has taken us off the bottom. So I think that's just been a mad season. It's been a mad 3 months. I mean, some young players in there that are doing really well under games, as every game's getting billed as a must-win, and they're dealing with it. And we maybe dipped under the levels we've been playing at recently, but I commend them for the boys and the manager, everyone, what we've did the last 3 months.
Yeah, and if there was, obviously if you were looking forward now as something that you could predict, do you have a number of points in mind that you think might just give you the security of the championship?
Well, I did. When I first joined I thought 35, but that's not going to be enough. I mean, us raising the levels asked questions of other teams, and to be fair to them, they've come up with some good wins themselves, so I think it's going to need more than that. But we know we're capable. Out the 5 games we have left, there's no many you look down and say if we play well we can win there. So look forward to the derby on Tuesday. We're due them one, and I'm sure we'll take a big support down there.
I wish you all the best, Stephen. Thanks for joining us again.
Cheers, Des.
Good man, Steve McGinn. Always good to get him on the programme. We had him as a guest. Des had him trackside there. We've spoken to Neil Lennon. We've heard from Jack Ross and Jim Duffy as well. Some dramatic games with a lot at stake in the championship. In the Premiership, Partick Thistle have secured their top 6 finish, and also in the bottom half, it's tight at the bottom. Motherwell and Hamilton now in a battle to try and avoid the playoff, and I think there are a few other clubs that will be nervy. Dundee, to name another one of the clubs that will be involved in trying to avoid relegation. Inverness rooted at the bottom. Is there any way that Richie Foran can get something out of the team from the Highlands? So many questions, and of course tomorrow, fantastic game in prospect. It's one of those games that you'd love to be playing at Macca, but you'd also love to be watching it. Aberdeen Rangers.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. It's a good one. Pittodrie is always a good place to go, and the atmosphere will be electric tomorrow. I think momentum, we keep talking about it, is with Aberdeen. Certainly with Aberdeen. New manager coming in, different ways. He's not scared to change the system, the new Rangers manager, but I think momentum's with Aberdeen. I think they will beat them.
I'm not quite sure about the motivation. I mean, I'm not bothered whether Pedro Caixinha names his side 24 hours, 48 hours before before a game. I just think at the end of the day, it's not a sign of disrespect.
No, it's not.
You know the team, just go out and play them.
Go and play.
Go out and try and win. You know, I don't think it's disrespectful. And now he's tried to name the Aberdeen side, which we all do 24 hours before a game anyway.
Yeah, but usually managers keep that to themselves. You know, if you're going to play Rangers or Celtic and you're handed their team the day before, you can adjust yourself accordingly. I know why he's done it to let his players feel relaxed. The two young players who are playing, you don't have to
Done
wait
quite
till
well,
tomorrow.
did they?
But it was just the way he did it, you know, the names. It was as if he was justifying, you know, that he's just in Scottish football and he's going to do his own thing, which is fair enough. Nobody has complaints for that. But I think if he goes into a Celtic game and hands Celtic his team the day before, then he's...
I mean, I'm going to ask him the question, Ruffy, could you give us 1 to 11, you know, so that we can just dissect your team ahead of the Scottish Cup semi-final. I think I might get a custard pie on that occasion. As far as the game's concerned, as ever, managers who are not accustomed to Scottish football get a little insight from people behind the scenes. And Pedro Caixinha says he's ready for the trip to Pittodrie and, you know, entering hell is how he put it.
I say that we are going to hell. And I like those hostile scenarios. I mean, football is about challenges. It's a game that we must win if we want to finish second, definitely. And it's also one game that is going to be the first of the last 7 for us. And we put one challenge to ourselves.
Well, managers can sometimes get more out of a set of players than the previous manager. But I'm not sure he can get much more out of this Rangers side that he's inherited. 5 wins in 21 away matches, Rangers.
Do you know what? There's a couple of things that I think he could have done. And for me, I think Kenny Miller's been the best player, and he's not doing him any favours by talking about he's got to wait till the end of the season and... You know, that's... And then Kenny's coming out and saying, my time's up. And so he's not... You know, Kenny's a professional. He'll fight away to the end of the season. We all know that. But it's not doing himself any justice. He could have done with Kenny Miller on his side. You know.
Here's the permutations,
why
though.
do you not get him third coach?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he hasn't done that. Because quite simply, we don't know what finances are available to the managers. So that's another thing, and of course, over and above that, we don't know, and I don't think we should expect Pedro Caixinha to suddenly say, well, he's been the best player, he's 37, you must give him a contract, because he's going to pick his own players.
No, but I think what he will do, Peter, is he'll see the worth to Rangers Football Club on the park and off the park. Because Kenny Miller is a model professional, and another year isn't going to break the barn.
Well, why are they taking such a long time?
Well,
to
exactly.
announce the coach either?
Exactly. You know, I think it's all about finance. I think we all think it's about finance, but to stick to Kenny Miller, he needs to be given another year to show the Rangers supporters that they are loyal to legends of the club.
He's the best. Forget about that. He's the best player this year.
Yeah. Well, listen, the manager's got a decision to make, but he's going to wait to the summer, and he's set that in stone. Of course, it's been a huge challenge and something that he actually expected.
I didn't saw this chance to be here as Rangers managers as a challenge. Maybe I was under sun now in Qatar enjoying my wages, so I came here for the challenge, and I want the players to have that feeling as well, because represent Rangers is about being challenged all day long, day by day, in your entire life.
Okay, he's got a challenge. It's win or bust tomorrow, Ruffy, and we're going to hear from the Aberdeen manager after the break. But what I would say to you is, I think it's already decided.
This is a big game for him. This is a challenge for him. This is the first time he's played the team at the top. He's been playing, obviously, Motherwell and who was it else?
Hamilton.
And Hamilton. So this will be a judge or a gauge of, on a one-off game, what the gap is.
Okay.
I realise more than what it will for any other game.
Yeah, absolutely. At Pittodrie, it will indeed be hell if they don't get the result. We'll talk to Aberdeen manager Derek McInnes next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin, and Frank McAvenny is with us too. And the reason he's with us is he just passes on so much experience to me, Mac. It's incredible. If only I'd listened to you on a regular basis.
If only you could tell, really.
Absolutely. If only I'd listened to you, you'd be talking to me on a Skype call from Barbados.
Yes, yes.
It's as simple as that. Macca, we've heard from the Rangers manager Pedro Caixinha. I think Derek McInnes deserves tremendous credit this season more than anything else for the way his team has played football, for the games that they've managed to grind out results. There's been a couple of slip-ups against Hamilton that I was far from impressed with Aberdeen. They could have been closer to Celtic, but I think, you know, what he's got out of that Dons team has been superb.
I think so. I think if they'd got last season, if they'd got this out of the Dons team, they could have possibly, they'd have been a lot closer to Celtic, that's for sure. But
yeah.
Listen, they've done well. They know they're not going to win. Celtic took points off them, and that's the only ones really. And they've been outplayed them because, as Derek says, Celtic's the only better team in the league. So, and they've got to prove it tomorrow. There's a big atmosphere up there, a red hot atmosphere in the morning when Rangers go up, and Derek's used to it. He'll love it. The Rangers man, Pedro, he'll be up there, and you know when you're walking along that touchline to get to the dugout. And he'll be hearing a few choice names, a few Glasgow names being called them from the Aberdeen supporters. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and Derek, obviously from the west of Scotland, knows all about rivalry and the battles that have gone on before between Aberdeen and Rangers. This is what he makes of Pedro Caixinha's side.
No complacency, but each game's a challenge to win. You know, nobody's going to give us it just because we're in good form, and everybody expects us possibly to be favourites for this. You know, I think that there's enough good players, as I said, in the Rangers team. You know, we've won one game against them, they've won one game against us. I don't think there's been a lot in the games. I thought arguably they were a better team here at Pittodrie when we managed to beat them. And I thought we were very good in spells at Ibrox, but never capitalised on it. So I don't think there's a lot between the teams.
Yeah, the only thing between the teams, the last time the two met at Pittodrie was a James Maddison wonder strike and a free kick in the 90th minute that gave Aberdeen a 2-1 victory on the day. Of course, the Dons have won 15 of the last 17 games, their home record. They're going for 11 consecutive home victories. Derek McInnes is well aware of the record.
This team, our team, will find its place in history, and I think it will look back fondly. So anytime you do manage to beat a record, or I think it's something to try and achieve. But more importantly, we're just trying to kind of finish this season off strongly. You know, we've put ourselves in a position both in League and Cup now to try and maximise what we've got. And there's work to be done. You know, it's not a case of reflecting just now. As good as it is, you know, we've got the time for reflections at the end of the season. There's work to be done for us to achieve what we fully want to achieve this year.
15 points ahead of Rangers would be no mean feat when you consider their spending power in relation to the Ibrox club.
Yeah, I'd have to say that. I mean, everybody at Rangers is talking about catching Celtic. I think they should be concentrating on catching Aberdeen, because if they go 15 points behind, that is a massive gap over the season. And next year, I think the challenge would be for Rangers would be second. So I think they should start focusing on Aberdeen, you know, and get them out of the road first, and then start going for Celtic, because you know, Aberdeen have had a tremendous season, and we keep talking about Celtic, what they're going to bring to next year, what kind of players. I'm sure Derek will be banging the door down to the chairman and saying, look guys, this is where I've got yous in finals, semi-finals, just give me some money, just a wee bit of money, and just let me bring in 2 or 3 players and see if I can consolidate that second place.
There's a couple of players leaving though, isn't there? There's a couple of players leaving. McGinn and Shinnie's, we're talking about Shinnie going, is it? It's one of these situations. They've got to have money. I don't think Rangers will catch Aberdeen next year, because I don't think there's the money at Ibrox, Peter. I don't see this team stepping up to keep touch with Aberdeen.
We're waiting to see who the players are. You know, that's, if you're a supporter at the beginning of the season, you're looking at who are the players, what kind of player are they going to identify?
And for Rangers?
Yeah, what kind of player, where's he coming from?
Once again, they've asked the supporters to buy season ticket holders without putting their money where their mouth is. I mean, they've asked the supporters to do it again.
Yeah. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 2. Diego Costa, excuse me, gets his 50th Premier League goal, and Eden Hazard with the second one. So Chelsea don't look as if they have any frailties in their march towards the Premier League title, that's for sure. As far as the spending power, I think you're right, Mac. I think they are asking the Rangers fans to dig deep once more, and there are a number of off-the-field issues which I think are going to come to the fore very shortly as well. But they could lose to Aberdeen tomorrow, and I think Rangers fans would be miffed because they don't like losing to Aberdeen. But I still think all of this season's misery or delight will be around the two Celtic games, Ruffy. I know it's not what Rangers fans want, but I think if there's anything that they would love more is to go to the cup final and to break this undefeated, invincible record that Celtic are chasing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given. If you're a Rangers supporter, that's all your season would be about, being the team who breaks that record, and also the chance to get into a cup and possibly win it. And then you're in Europe, and that, for Rangers, would be a fantastic season. I mean, everybody would be talking about Celtic, but for Rangers supporters, that'd be as good as it gets.
Yeah, I understand, but what we're saying is, how many times are they going to ask the supporters? Because, let's be honest, the supporters have kept that club alive for years now.
Yep.
And they keep getting promised and promised and promised, and it's never happened. I mean, as somebody that, many Rangers supporters out there, they must be thinking, well, hold on a minute, we're not going to keep doing this.
Yeah. I think the strange thing is, Maka, apart from people who become apathetic about the team and the performances, the results and decisions that are made, it's a family thing. It's something that people through generations go through, and fans do part with their money. There will be protests at certain points, as there have been over the last 5 years, but you only have to look back to 1994 and what Celtic supporters did. They were still turning up for games, not in as great a number, but they were turning up for games, and then eventually they put their money where their mouth was to give Celtic a chance to build under Fergus McCann. I think the problem here is a lot of Rangers fans are saying, there's a season ticket money, but how much are you putting in? Where is your money that you promised?
Well, they kept asking that, and they said 30 million, didn't they? He was going to spend his kids' inheritance and all that, and now all of a sudden it's coming out, well, so many millions went to that to fix that wall, and that's not what the players, that's not what the supporters want to hear.
Yeah.
They want that 30 million for the park. For on the pitch,
that's why I'm saying if the supporters put their money in, as they will do, they'll buy the same season, but they will be judged on the players that are coming in. If they start going away and loaning 2 and 3 players here, and there's no established player coming in, then they'll start to ask questions of like, why are we still doing that? Where are we going? They need somebody to let them know where they are going.
Okay, before I get your prediction, let me tell you, if you didn't actually see the Grand National, one for Arthur, the Scottish horse won the Grand National. Great if you're unbelievably patriotic. We all are, and there you are. One for Arthur. Who's going to win the game at Pittodrie, Aberdeen or Rangers?
I think we're very, very close. I don't think there'll be much in it. I think Aberdeen will win 1-0.
Okay, it's actually becoming your catchphrase now. I think it'll be very, very close. I don't think there's going to be much in it. And then 1-0 Aberdeen.
Yes.
Win for the Dons.
Yeah. Okay, a win for the Dons.
Yeah.
There's your prediction.
Couple of goals.
Couple of goals, says Maka. Okay, you can agree or disagree. You can post your messages at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Let's look back over the full-time scores just to jog your memory or indeed enlighten you of what's happened today in the Premiership. Celtic 3, Kilmarnock 1, Hamilton 1, Ross County 1, Hearts 1, Dundee 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, St Johnstone 3, Partick Thistle 1, Motherwell 0. In the Championship, Ayr United 0, Queen of the South 2, Dundee United 1, Falkirk 1, Dunfermline 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Morton 1, Hibernian 1, St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 1. In League 1, Airdrieonians 3, Brecon City 1, Albion Rovers 3, Stranraer 0, Livingston 2, Alloa 1, Queen's Park 2, Peterhead 0, Stenhousemuir 3, East Fife 1. In League 2, Berwick Rangers 0, Stirling Albion 1, Clyde 2, Annan Athletic 1, Edinburgh City 1, Cowdenbeath 1, Elgin City 1, Montrose 1, and Forfar 1, Arbroath 1. In the Premier League in England, Tottenham 4, Watford 0, Manchester City 3, Hull City 1, Middlesbrough 0, Burnley 0, Stoke City 1, Liverpool 2, West Brom 0, Southampton 1, West Ham 1, Swansea 0, and the latest score is Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 2. Diego Costa and Eden Hazard with the goals there for Antonio Conte's side. I am told, early reports coming in, that after the 3-1 win, Brendan Rodgers went out and put all 10 fingers in the air, as if he was mentioning to the fans he signed the deal. He's here to try and get Celtic 10 in a row. In the after-match press conference, he said he was just stretching his fingers, Robbie.
Oh, the media will pick up and anything like that. No, particularly the significance of how many years he's staying for.
If you wave, that's 10.
Yeah.
Not that they twist things, but it's,
I'm just wondering where they're going to build the cathedral. Will that be at the side?
Yeah, absolutely, and the flight path for the planes as well. Let's not dwell on it. All I would say to you is, there's been contention in Scottish football over the last 2 weeks. A lot of fights, a lot of red cards, a lot of back page headlines, a lot of unhappy people. But today on the programme, there was love in the air because Neil Lennon and Jim Duffy embraced. It was a nervous embrace, according to the Hibs manager Neil Lennon, but nevertheless, there was love there between them. They've mended their dispute, and that's good to hear. Well done to one for Arthur. He won the Grand National as well. From everyone here, good night.